Yeah.
Not in focus.
Close out and open again, close the camera, open again. That should work. Huh? Maybe not.
We don't get that.
Technical difficulties, we can hand it over.
You can keep going.
Okay. Does everyone have a copy of this one? Okay.
We can see what is,
Not Nicole.
We're working on it.
okay, thank you.
I guess I can stand over there. Okay, okay, let's go ahead and get addresses real quick, and then hopefully that'll get fixed, and I haven't missed anything. Okay, anybody have an address they're working on? Potential listing,
117 Polaris, it's just a townhouse though.
okay.
I don't have the exact information, it's just listed yesterday. I don't know if that was.
Okay, what town is it, Garnet?
Yep.
Oh, it did go down. So, oh, what? Okay. Who's next?
503 South 10th Street, Irwin. Just saw the listing yesterday and it's still in marketing, so it's not on there yet.
Okay, who else?
101 Robbins Nest Lane, Middlesex.
Okay, two more. 50 Powell Drive, Smithfield. Finds me in Sunset.
154 Oil Lane, Henderson,
154 Hoyle, HOY.
HOYLE.
Okay, okay, we'll start off with these and see how it goes. Let's see. Whatever. Get those things. Okay, so you have a buyer or a seller, and they're like, hey, what would you value my property as? What's the first thing you guys do?
Send the appointments.
Good idea. What's the first thing that goes through your head when you're like, okay, I have a seller who said yes to me, I'm gonna go visit their home. What's the first thing you look for?
CRS, it might be
Their own condition.
Past history, you know.
Okay,
It's listed before.
usually get their address, right? First thing you gotta get their address, right? Do you like type it into MLS and try to figure out what it is?
Pulling up everything around it, so.
Yep. Okay. What are some of the things you ask the seller before you actually see them at the appointment? What are some of the things that you talk to them about?
Have you made any improvements?
Have you made any improvements on your home? How long have you owned your home? What are some of the things that you've done to the property? Sometimes I probe them a little bit because they're like, oh yeah, it's really cute, but they don't tell me any details, and I need like details. You know, like, hey, have you changed your HVAC out? Have you put new floors in? Have you painted the walls? Have we done anything to your property whatsoever? Come on, give us some help. And then that's when they usually start talking, and then you can't get them to stop, right? You're like, I don't need any more information than they do. So what are some of the things that are really important for you to find out?
If they have made changes, have they been permitted?
Oh, yeah, especially now with the new R codes there, that's gonna be coming out soon.
The age of the house and that affects what it's saying.
What's some of the other things?
Square footage and if it's truly permitted square footage.
Now, when you go to look up the house, you always look to see if it's ever been listed in the past, right?
Yes.
Now, if it's been listed in the past, maybe more accurate, but usually tax records are completely wrong as far as square footage is concerned, right?
Yes.
We just listed a property on Thursday. Taxable square footage was 2,500 square feet. The last time it was listed was when it was new construction, it was 2,700 square feet. It was actually 3,000 square feet. Big difference, right? And so And you can kind of feel it when you walk through a home, right? You're like, this doesn't feel like 2,500 square feet. This feels bigger, right? And that was one of the things, like, I need to have an appraiser come in and measure the property. I never measure my own property. Sorry. If you guys do, save yourself, I can spend the $100 and just have someone else do it. So I had to have the appraiser come back with what the square footage is, so I can actually figure out what the price of the house is gonna be. Because if it was 2,500 square feet, I was listing it for 460. Well, it was almost 3,100 square feet. It was listed at 525. Could you imagine if I changed my client $60,000, how pissed off they would be at me?
Very.
And so have an honest conversation with them and say, hey, I would love to be able to price your home, but I'm not sure this is the right square footage, and I don't want to shortchange you if it's not. Be honest with them on it. That is one of the things that I think is a big thing, especially if it was new construction before. They're just going off builder plans. And if there's any changes to that house, if they had the bonus room finished, or if they had a third floor done or something like that, it was probably not done in the builder plans, and so that square footage can be completely off. The other thing that I always ask them, and you guys are gonna laugh when you hear this, what does Zillow think your house is worth? Yeah, they do. They looked at everything before they called you. And so they're like, oh yeah, Zillow tells me my house is worth $700,000. I'm like, I don't think so, but okay. And so another thing to keep in mind is that Zillow has either the tax record value or the previous, MLS numbers or something like that. And if that square footage is wrong, Zillow's gonna be wrong. So that's something to keep in mind. What are some of the other things that you want to keep in mind when you're looking at pricing a property?
Features like the yard, how big is it? Is it flat and even, or does it have problems?
Yep, usable land.
Yes.
What's happening around it?
What's happening around it? Yeah, do you want to have a great big construction site behind you for the next 5 years? That can affect your property. Okay, what else?
They had a recent survey.
Yep. Does anybody ever ask if you've spoken to other realtors? Yeah.
That's a great interview.
NAR just came out with the 2023 buyers and sellers report. If you haven't gotten a copy of it, I suggest you go get a copy of it. I think like 60% of the people only interview one realtor. So keep in mind, if you're walking in that appointment, it's up to you to lose the appointment than it is for you to win somebody else over. So, what's the most important thing about the sale? Anybody ask that question? Is it money? Is it time? Is it, you don't want to fix anything up? Because if you walk into the property and the property has some age to it and they're not willing to do any repairs to it, that's going to affect the property's price, right? The other thing to keep in mind is that they're current on their mortgage payments. If they're heading into foreclosure, you got to get the house sold like yesterday. So that's something else to keep in mind. Anything else? Okay, so
Asking who else is on the deed, or who else has put it in the property.
yeah, who else is on the deed? Keep in mind, there is a lot of fraud going around right now. I would suggest that if you're meeting with someone and they don't want to meet with you at the property, especially if it's land's the worst one of it.
I have an issue right now.
Do you have an issue right now?
I have one.
Yeah, there was a builder I know that actually got defrauded by like 400 grand. They were not, the seller of the property wasn't authorized to sell the property, and builder turned over 400 grand. And it's gone. Good luck getting that back. What about the question, how's the market? How many people get that question all the time?
Yeah.
How do you answer that?
I answer like any more.
Very interesting.
How do you answer it?
I always say it's very interesting, and then they say, tell me more.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
What are you trying to do?
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Are you a buyer or are you a seller? Where do you live? I mean, is that pretty a hot topic right now, where you live? Have you noticed there's pockets of the area that sell better than other pockets do? There's price points that sell better than other price points do. Right? So that makes a difference. Ask those probing questions, like where do you live? You know, why is this important to you? You know, what's some of the things that are factoring into, you know, why you're asking me this question? And it also allows you a delay tactic for you to figure things out in your head. How many people study MLS every morning? You go into MLS, look to on a hot sheet, look to see what's listed, what went under contract, what things are going on. How many people preview homes every day? How do you know what a house looks like if you don't preview it? Especially if you're a new agent, do you want to practice on your client? Or do you want to go out and do it and get that expertise? Because there will be that one client that sits there and says, what kind of floors are these? And you're like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I had to look at the other day. I'm like, I looked down at them like, they look vinyl, but I think they're linoleum.
It's hard to know these days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're doing it yourself and you're like, okay, let me touch it. Let me see what it's like. I'm like, oh no, those are vinyl tiles. Cool. That's pretty awesome. You know, you're not trying to sit there and impress your client that you know everything. At least that way you know. So, you know, different kind of countertops now. You have all different types of countertops. You have all different kinds of cornices and, you know, different construction types and, you know, what's the difference between a contemporary home and a arts and crafts and, you know, what are those things? And if you're out there previewing homes, it makes it easier for you. It also allows you to get in front of people who are nosy neighbors. My second listing was because I previewed a house and somebody was walking by with their dog and I was coming out of the house and she asked if I was a listing agent. I said, no, I'm not the listing agent. I'm previewing for a client. And she's like, well, I'm thinking about selling my home. And I walked right over to her house and took the listing. Use that as a lead generation opportunity. Because knowledge is power. And the more confident you seem, especially if you're a quote unquote new agent, just because you're a new agent doesn't mean you don't know anything. Trust me, there's a lot of agents out there that have been around for 20 years that know less than you. I'm dealing with one now. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to talk about on MLS. I know we've had a lot of changes go on, so I want to make sure we have everything up to date. So let's go ahead and go in here. Okay, so I'm assuming you all use Paragon, right? You haven't converted to Flex or anything like that yet. Am I right? Okay, awesome. Okay, so a couple of things. How many people here use InfoSparks?
Use what?
InfoSparks. Have you ever seen InfoSparks? Hate this. This is one of my favorite tools in our MLS system. And if you have not used it and have not played around with it, please do. I love it because you can really dig deep into a lot of things. You can go back and look at history trends. And it gives you a lot of breakdown because, you know, when you sit there and look at the different types of, you know, pricing stratifications and stuff like that, there's a lot of stuff in here. So I always do all organizations on here. And you can kind of see where this is our median sales price over the last 10 years. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is the last 4 years. Let's go back to do 10. Let's see. What's happened to our market in the last 10 years?
They're going up.
Right.
Especially the last 3, right? Yeah, we're pretty stable. I mean, we still have appreciation over the first 5 years of last year. And then once 2020 hits, we kind of just go off the cliff, right? Or go up the hill. But you can see within all of these years, there's cyclical events in this, right? So a lot of the stuff about pricing depends on when you put the house on the market. The only time that really changed was 2020. Nothing really was cyclical about it. 2021, same thing. 2022, then we got back into the cyclical environment. 2023 was back to where we were all the years before that. Kind of fun, huh?
Excuse me. Can, we have them shift the camera a little because we can't see the screen to see what you're speaking about?
Here, I'll just do it this way. Let's do this. Can you guys see that instead? That's the wrong one though.
It's gonna be difficult to really see that.
Okay. At least, yeah, we could see much better than what was there. Okay,
Does that work?
Awesome. Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. If you want to follow along, if you have your laptop, we can pull it up too. So you can see where we've gone. And you can see, the great thing about it is that the dates are always show on here. So, your winter months, December, January are usually low, and you can see March starts popping up, and then you have April kind of comes down a little bit, and this is your summer months. Your peak is May, and then June and July. July and August, believe it or not, are actually lower months because people are on vacation. That's how I always found out. It's like they want to move before the kids are out of school. So they buy a house in May and June, and then they move everybody over July and then start in August. And then you can see it coming down again. You get a little hiccup in October, and then it comes back down again. And every year is like that. You can see it's always cyclical. And the reason why you have a pop in December is because people move here for jobs. So when you put a house on the market, it's very dependent upon what's going on, what the inventory is. How many people are in the market right now and have buyers and sellers who are looking for homes right now? Is it really hard for a buyer to find a home?
You know, where they wanna be.
Depends on where they want to be, right? Are you able to negotiate a lot of different opportunities for them now? Are you able to get incentives? I know new construction, you're getting tons of incentives. Rate buy downs, free upgrades and stuff like that in new construction. Buyers are starting to, buyers are definitely getting lender credits or credits from the sellers for properties. A lot of things you weren't able to negotiate back in 2020. Yeah. Paint allowance, carpet allowance, all that stuff. You weren't getting those 3 years ago. You're lucky you didn't have $30,000 in due diligence you had to put down. But what I am seeing, because we do have such a shortage amount of inventory, is that desirable properties are still getting multiple offers. They're not 50 offers like they were, back in 2020 and 2021. I had one that had 96. That's the most I've ever had. 96 offers. You want to talk about trying to make sure, A, that you don't miss an offer, and B, having to communicate to 96 different agents? Yeah. Not easy. Yeah. Are you seeing that in your market now too? Are you seeing where houses are starting to go into multiple offers again?
House and land.
Yep. Yeah. I put 2 houses on the market on Thursday, both were under contract by Sunday, 2 of them they both had multiple offers on it. So I think it's because it's January. I'm hoping it's because it's January because we haven't had a lot of inventory go on the market lately. Because I really don't want to go back to 2020 and 2021 again. I'm tired. Okay, so that's why you can kind of see here. The other thing I always like to look at too is if you look in here, so that's the sales price here. Month supply, I think is really important to look at too. Yeah. Crazy, right? Homes for sale. Again, look at that drop. New listings, you're gonna see that. Look at that.
Wow.
In December. In the last 10 years, we've never had that few number of houses go on the market. Does that tell you a story? If you have a seller that wants to sell their house, when are you gonna ask them to put their house on the market?
Yeah.
Now. The other thing I always like looking at percentage of list price. This is original and this is last. Yeah. Our, here in 2020, look at this, 102, 103. And now we're back to 100. And we're here, we're all underneath.
What's the difference between median and average?
Median is taking the middle of everything, average is averaging everything out. You throw out the outliers and medians. Yeah. Average is pretty much keeping everything. Like if you look at average, look at this, 105%. 104%. So if you're a buyer and you're an agent and you're showing this to a buyer, you're telling them you need to go over list in order for you to even have a chance at this house. And if it's a $300,000 house, you gotta be 15, at least 15 grand over list. And then pray that it breaks.
Yeah, that would be.
We still have some sellers left over that think they can list higher than the house should be valued, and they're gonna get more offers. This is a good graph for you to show them, to show that we've got so many agents that are so accustomed to, if we can't bid over the list amount, there's no reason to bid. So they're cutting out a lot of potential buyers by listing higher than they should.
Yep.
But just look at that chart.
And this is as of December, so we're at 98.7% as of December. And essentially, if you're pricing a house more than 1.3% over what your value is, you're missing out on people who are going to be offering on your property. So if you're valuing at 400,000 and they want to list at 425, you're missing a whole segment of the market that won't even look at your house because they know it's overpriced. And it's going to sit. And Mr. Seller, do you want to get out of your house in the next 30 days? Yes, then you need to price it right. Okay. So questions on InfoSparks. If you have not had a chance to dig through this, it's really is an incredible opportunity. It gives you a chance to break it down even by neighborhood. So if you have Eagle Ridge, let's do Eagle Ridge here. You can see more things on Eagle Ridge. And let's go. This obviously has not been around over 10 years. Let's do 3 years.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm on InfoStars and I don't see where you're putting in a particular area.
So on the top where it says here, in the top corner,
See what's in MLS.
it says entire MLS. If you click on the entire MLS, you can actually drop down. So if you want to look at Wake County, you can do it that way. And if you want to export this and use this as something that you can send it over to your clients, you can do the same thing. So you can either do print or you can share and you can send it out. It just gives you an opportunity to see things a little bit differently. And I always think, showing something physically is so much more important and more powerful for your clients. Because if they sit there and they want to list it for 425, you're like, hey, you're not going to get 425. The median average is 375 for this house. You're not getting anywhere near 425 for it. I love it. You've done all the work to it. Yeah, you might get a couple of $1,000s out of it, but you're not getting 425. And it just gives you the opportunity to kind of show them that.
Do you know why it like MLS and the InfoSparks does it as well? I think when you pulled up Eagle Ridge, it pulled up an option for Raleigh or Garner.
Yes,
Why does it do that?
because there's probably a subdivision in Garner and a subdivision in Raleigh called Eagle Ridge. And I think this is the Eagle Ridge is the one in Raleigh, if I believe, because it didn't give me any data for Eagle Ridge and Garner.
I've come across a couple that it's not in both towns.
Yeah, so there's information in Eagle Ridge and Raleigh, not in Garner. You have a couple of them that are gonna be like that, they kind of cross over. So,
Just double check it. I've done it on CMAs before.
Yeah.
Skewed my numbers.
yeah, I mean, so I live in Heritage in Wake Forest, and there's also a Heritage in Clayton. And so when I look at CMAs and if I don't put the city in, I'm like, nope, not $250,000. So it just double check your numbers and stuff like that. Okay, So we're gonna go and look at a couple other things before I actually hit the CMA part of it. So let's get this out of here. The other thing to look at too, I like looking at fast stats. And this is just a generic one too. I love this because if you have a client who's buying a property and they want to live in Lake County, you can just kind of click on it and then you can click on Raleigh and it just gives you the idea of what's going on in the market. You can see change in new listings is down almost 10% from last month, but the median change in sales price is up 8.5%. So our prices going down in Raleigh?
No.
No. So if you have people who want to wait, are they going to be paying higher next year?
Yes.
Now, if they can't save faster than they can spend money, then maybe they need to buy a house today
Or move somewhere.
or move someplace else that's not as expensive. So that gives you a chance to kind of help them get over that hurdle. Because at the end of the day, we are advisors, right? We have to make sure that they do what's best for them, but we have to advise them on what's going on in the market. The next one is here, and that's community reports. And so, I like this because it gives you information about the properties and the areas. So I'm just going to type my address in here. Have you guys done anything with community reports? Okay, so the cool thing about community reports, it kind of gives you what's going on in the area. And you can kind of see, you know, median sale prices have gone up over the last 10 years, median age of homes, how many people are homeowners versus people who are renters, average rental costs, percentage of homes rented and percentage of homes owned, and home use, what they're looking at. The other thing that's kind of cool. Oh. This is annoying.
I haven't gone to far side, and we can click on it, move.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, so it gives you demographic information on here as well. Schools, everybody's always concerned about schools, so it gives them some information about the schools. What's going on in the environment. So you can compare to different cities. So if they're moving from, let's say they're moving from San Diego, you can put San Diego in here and they can compare it to the different cities so they can look at it. Quality of life, cost of living index, stuff like that. So you can kind of give this to them as information if they're looking to, hey, we're thinking about moving to, you know, Raleigh or Wake Forest or wherever. You know, what does it compare to as far as they're coming back from? And I think that's kind of a fun little thing for you to do. Also gives you a chance to kind of learn a little bit more about their town that they're into. I'm going to close those back up. Okay, are you ready to get into the nitty gritty of this? Okay, do you guys want to break before we do it? You're getting kind of quiet on me. Coffee break? Okay, I'll give you guys 10 minutes. So be back by, let's do be back by 11.
Now, more people relocating.
Yes.
That'd be good to put out.
Yeah, and it's kind of a fun thing, like I've done a couple of reels where I'm just like, what is my town where I came from compared to, you know, my town that I'm in now? It gives you kind of fun stuff. But
I shall put that in here. I'm gonna start doing. We're gonna start doing breakfasts with agents from different parts. I got one we're supposed to go to Florida yesterday. It's gonna be New Hampshire, and that'll be a cool thing to put in. It's different.
I was, I think for a little while, like, what $1 million buys you from Miami originally. So what $1 million buys you in Miami versus what $1 million buys you in Raleigh. And so I'll just like take the Zillow excerpts and kind of green screen it. Like, you can get this for $1 million, or you can have this for $1 million.
On one side of Wake County versus the other.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to say that,
We have a sponsor for this class, that's providing lunch. He has a little presentation. But, it's funny, she'll be showing up around 11:30, 11:45. So, and I mean, you can wait a few minutes. You stop at that section, I was going to issue that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, all the time. Yeah.
I need to say something. I think I have a green jacket in front.
But I think she's funny, you know, so I got. You never got Yeah, you should tell me. I might. Meeting with Eric this week, and she wanna go over some stuff. She wanna meet going on tonight. So, go over some stuff. So I told her, either way, we can Zoom, read it, read it, ask about it. I think it's gonna be Sunday. So please, I'll let you know which one, please, I change it. Or, 6 figures. That's why I actually think that's like, I was on the phone with the attorney, because, you know, it's 9 people, several information sheets. Some information sheets is like, TV's, but I'm just trying to figure out. This job is missing. I think it's possible. They are prepared to wait. They gonna do it. All you can do is go. And I got one in March. The sun stays in the house right now. Turning it into time to get situated. So in the March. I got one that's gonna be in March. Before you get it, in one birthday. So hopefully by then her son, she got married and her son's still staying. So they're trying to get into the final place here. I'm trying to get him to buy. We've been working on for a year to graduate. I was making sure I was learning how to work with all the information. That's really the people I need to know. Well, friends, everybody, you read, like, and I'm still,
My last company I was with was Capital Bank. We're no longer part of but I worked for 6 different banks in 4 years. I was like just because of the restructuring buyout. Yeah, all the M&A work and stuff like that. And Cause I started in 92. Started in 96. Because they're all their bios, you know, I was upper management at the time, but I wasn't sea level, so I wasn't making money. So you can stop RBC. Shortly after, it's. And so. I think one of the. I just don't get it. I'll put out like my name.
I didn't submit one.
We don't use that.
I did not submit. Thank you.
It's a basic house. Yeah, and that's, when I was in my area. My favorite. Mine are not too. My younger, my whole. Yeah. I'm breaking them now. I mean, something. Like saying anything. I appreciate you. Last year I hired 6 and short 10-minute presentation that I would appreciate you. Did you ladies?
One other request, Nicole. Will you make a pot of coffee? So that, thank you.
Okay. We got some more people. Your signature on there?
Sounds good, street.
I just had me listing that's on yesterday. Yes. The staff. No, the late marketing. So all this is very, very easy.
I got my January. Well, I've got every month the rest of the year.
You are doing that.
I let down. Now it's taking the-
I think that was with all those, so market conditions. Right here. Yeah, that's.
Way out there. That's right.
It's something that I deal with, but usually my medication.
No, I'll give it.
But,
That's what they, well, I feel like I'm well, yeah, takes it for a while.
yeah, and it really does that every day you do.
Every year I'm like, oh, it's May. I need to find out.
I'm glad that we're seeing a pickup in January, like we saw last year. Looking like we'll be good.
Yes, because my client, she was kind of going ahead to listen to new, but inside I was in, I couldn't, we said it's not just. Because I know typically it does pick up the market.
And you know, it really brings up, you're not doing that. With the
Qualifies for Ryan. Staff goes around. Trust me.
Thank you, everybody, for coming back on time. I appreciate it. Okay, we energized now. We have some caffeine in us and we walked around a little bit, got all the stuff done. Cool. Okay. So we're gonna kind of move on to the nitty gritty of this. So one of the things I love doing when I log into Paragon, I always love to look at what's going on in the market. So I go over here and I do residential and I looked at active properties. So all active. There are 7,125 active properties in all of our MLS currently. When I got my license and started, this number was 14,000. Has the market changed a lot? And we only have more houses. So in 10 years, we've gone down in our inventory by half, but I'm pretty sure we probably put, several, 20, 30,000, 30,000 homes down since then. So, yeah. Okay. So I always kind of look at that. It kind of gives me an idea of what's going on. The other thing I like doing is looking to see, what's been sold the last 30 days too. So let's go ahead and look at this and so we have 7,125. I'm going to write that number down because it's important. And I'm sorry about my horrible handwriting. Okay. So let's get closed. Date range, last 30 days. We've had 2,171 homes closed. Okay. Inventory. How do you determine inventory based on this? How many months inventory do we have?
That's 1.5. Last I checked, it was 1.5 in the area. I forget.
But that number doesn't look like 1.5 to me.
Well, it was 4.
3 months.
I forget what it was.
Okay. How do we figure out number of months of inventory? So we take 71.25 divided by 21.71. We have 3.2 months of inventory on the market right now. Went up quite a bit, right? Do I think it's going to stay that way? Probably not. Let's go ahead and change this a little bit. So we're going to change this out and we're actually going to look at inventory for just resales. So we're going to make this new construction no. We've had 14,900 and 1492. Is that a number? Okay. And let's look at actives and then resales.
Okay.
And we have 3548. let's go ahead and do that number again. Take 3548 and divide by 1492. You take Columbus Hill, the Ocean Blue. 2.37. So what does this tell you? What's the conversation we have here?
For sellers, a lot more competition, so they have to be more realistic.
So for resale, there's we have a lot less inventory resale than we do new construction, right? Because if we just subtract it out, that means, you know, we still have 3,500 for new construction and 700 that closed. So that number is much higher on the new construction side. Right? Let me do that number so you guys can see it. So 7125 minus 3548. So we have 3577 here. And 2171 minus 1482. 679. 7 divided by 679. You got 5.26 months. This is new construction. This is resale. This is. Big difference. Right? What's considered a seller's market?
Up till 5.
About 6 months of inventory is a balanced market. So anything below 6 is a seller's market. Anything above 6 is a buyer's market, right? So if we have more than 6 months of worth of inventory, we're in a buyer's market. You're getting pretty close right there.
We see it in builders too.
Yep. But do we have a long way to go before we get there here? Now, why is that? Why is this number so low?
I think it's because people that are selling are saying, where the heck am I going?
Yep.
Yeah,
And they're not putting their house on the market.
right. They can't get as much house, potentially.
And the people who typically do sell in that 2-year sweet spot aren't doing it because they have that 3% interest rate.
Yeah. But there are people who need to move.
There are people who still need to move, but it's not as many.
Yep. There are a lot of people that still need to move.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that conversation may have to shift in your mind, right? People still need to move. They get job transfers. Their spouses pass. They get divorced. They get married. People still need to move. The concerns that you had in 2012 versus 2019 versus 2024 are still there. Now, did they like suck it up for a little while and like, yeah, I'll just make my house work for a little while or build an extension or something like that? Yeah, there's some people who will do that because they want to avoid paying higher interest rates. But have rates come down in the last 4 weeks, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. We just got 5.75 for one of our clients. That's a big difference from 8%. Huge difference. So, and I think it's part of the reason why we're seeing is people starting to flood the market again, because they've seen interest rates come down. And they don't want prices to go back up, because what's gonna keep happening if this inventory stays here?
Prices go up.
Prices are gonna go up. So you have a choice, higher prices, higher interest rates. It is a catch-22. Yeah. So until this number here gets higher, that is gonna drive prices up. It's pretty much your basic economics, right? So you have this, this number and this number. So it's your supply and demand. So this is your supply and this is your demand. As supply goes up, demand comes down because there's more people. This is where your equilibrium is. Well, we have such a tight supply right now. That's why our prices keep going up. It's because it's a supply side issue, completely a supply side issue. Sorry, I'm getting very numbersy. Sorry about that. Until we get this number fixed, prices will continue to go up. That's what I'm saying. Okay, cool. How many people did I lose from that? Okay, sorry about that. I digress. But I think it's really important for you guys to see what the breakdown in this area is. And you can do this for anything. You can do it for a neighborhood, you can do it for a town, you can do it for a zip code. It all really is going in there into your search and looking at what's active for whatever you're looking for and what's closed in the last 30 days for whatever you look for. And you can get what that inventory range is. So it's also a great way to determine, because if you have a house on the market more than 2.3 months, is that house overpriced? Yeah. Other thing to look at too is price ranges. You know, is it the, you know, the $500,000 market that's causing these issues? So you can go up to 500,000 and see what's going on. You know, or it can go sub 500,000. You know, what's going on with houses under 500,000. We have 2,600 homes, 2,655 that are active. Let's just look at this real quick. This is sub 500. It's a high, on the high range.
Yeah, okay, so I got this one.
Hold on, let me take this off. 1153.
May I ask how you have the 30 days back in the date range? Because I keep clicking on mine, it's not doing anything.
You have to have closed set up in order for it to have that drop down. If you don't have closed in here, then that drop down is not gonna show up.
I have 500,000 in closed, and I have 30 days back, but I got 1688.
I did too.
What?
Take new construction.
Oh, yeah, I gotta take the
Oh.
construction off. This is just
I
research.
got it.
Doing these out. Good.
So here you go,
Construction type.
under $500,000, 2,655 divided by 1153,
Say no.
2.3. It really hasn't changed at all. Leads me to believe that the higher price points really don't change much more than the lower price points do. If you have somebody who's looking for a $400,000 house, you're following the same inventory category as someone who's looking for an $800,000 house. Okay, questions on that? Okay, cool. So that just gives us idea. So if we're looking to list a home, let's say we're gonna list a property. And one of the things we want to do is see how long it's gonna stay on the market. You know, if they need to get that house sold fast and our average is 2.5 months. Well, do we price it a little bit lower in order to get it sold for quicker? Right, that's a factor.
Conversation.
Yeah, that's a conversation to have. And you know, Mr. Seller, based on what we're seeing right now, houses on average are on the market for 2.3 months. Give or take about 75 days, right? Do you need your house sold faster than that? Yes, okay, then we may want to consider pricing the house a little bit below market value, so we can get your home sold faster. Right, that's a conversation you need to have. Okay, so getting ready for your CMA, I'm gonna use my property address as number 1, and then we're gonna move on to the other 5. Go ahead, for those who have your laptops out, go ahead and look at it. It is 1313 Marshall Farm Street. And that is in Wake Forest. Go ahead and put it up here. Please don't send me care packages. Okay. So. Go ahead and let's look at. I had my house listed briefly last year, so let's pull up the stuff here. What is you're listing my house. What are some of the things you're gonna ask me questions about? When it was built?
Yeah, any improvements made?
Yes, so since I bought the house, I've lived in this house for 12 years now. Okay, since I bought this house, I have replaced both HVAC systems. I put a new roof on. The exterior and interior has been completely painted in 2021 and 2022. The kitchen has been redone. The floors were refinished last year. What else can I tell you? What else can I tell you about it? I put a fence in.
Legally?
Yes. Legally, it was all legally done.
Laugh,
I love it.
Yes, it has a hot tub. Hot tub may or may not convey, we'll see. But that was done via permits too. It has an electric car charging station. That was done permitted. Let's see, what else?
What's the square footage?
It's about 3,700 square feet.
HOA amenities?
HOA, it is in heritage, which means that I have access to the pool, but I do not currently pay for the pool. But I do have access to all the things. It does back up to the golf course, so I have golf course views. Let me get back to that so you can see that. I'm on the 13th hole. And my husband takes way too many pictures. So that is the view from my back deck. So I have no houses behind me. I have one neighbor to the left of me, and that is it. Anything else you want to ask me about my home?
Are there any problems that I can't visually see?
Not that I know of.
I like to ask, what about your house do you like the best? So I can show you.
I love that my house is very open. I know some people don't like it, but I do love that it's very open. I love the location of my house. It's very easy to get to everything. I have like 4 different grocery stores within a mile of me, so I can get anywhere, you know, and stuff like that. I like that it's really close to good schools. When my kids were, my kids are older now, they're both out of high school. But when they were in school, that was a huge factor for me, is I wanted to make sure they were going to good schools. Yeah. I have great neighbors. I love my neighbors. But it's gotten to the point where it's just too much house for us right now. I have one kid out. I have the other one split out. He spends like 3 days a night at our house. So, and it's getting to the point where it's just too much house. 3,700 square feet is a lot of house. Let's maintain. And I've done a lot of work to it. I don't want to do any more work. The only thing that really needs to be done at some point in time in the future is going to have to be replacing the hot water heater. It's okay right now, but I'd probably say maybe has another year or two left on it because it's the original.
Here, I'm sorry, just a bit. Where did you put your address in to bring up those? And if it wasn't already listed before, would I still be able to look at that?
Yeah, so if you go to the homepage on the left-hand side, that quick search,
Okay,
type it in there.
thank you.
You're welcome. So that's the first thing I do is I pull up their address if I can. If I can't, I will go into the tax search and look at there. I'm gonna pull this up. This is your property report. That's what my house used to look like 3 years ago. So, it kind of gives you an overview of where it is. It's on the corner. Some people love a corner house. Some people don't love a corner house. I particularly like it. And you can kind of see that's where the golf course is. I also pull up information here in the county assessor's report. You can get that from Wake County. 3749 is the heated area gave us. I think it's worth like 3777 or something like that. So it's really close. You can kind of see the building overview here. All the permits that were pulled, you can see that here. Photos. This is, like I said, this is what it looks like now. This is what it looked like back when it was built. I got rid of the nasty, ugly red shutters. So. Tax bill. How many people have gotten seen people going crazy over the tax bill in the last couple of weeks because they got their new tax bill?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just because your value of went up doesn't mean your taxes are gonna go up. We won't find that out until July, so, stop freaking out. But you can see I'm current on my taxes, I'm current on my mortgage, I make my mortgage payment every month, I'm not in foreclosure, I'm not in bankruptcy, all that stuff is being taken care of. So I'm your run-of-the-mill kind of seller. What else are you gonna ask me about it?
Can you use your second floor big bedroom as a bedroom or a office or both of them?
I use it as a bedroom, my parents live there, but it can be used as a bonus, it has an ensuite bath with it. So. I have a lot of storage space too, so I have 400 square feet on the second floor and I have 1,200 square feet on the third floor for storage. It is not finished. There's a 3-car side load garage. What else? What else can I tell you about my house? Do you have everything you need to know about my house in order for me to sell?
Are there any
You don't.
assessments?
There are no special assessments on the HOA currently, no. Somebody else has a question.
Easements?
No easements that I know of. Well, I do have a golf course easement, so yes. There's a reason why if you look at my property, my fence line is 20 feet in from where my property line ends. Because I have a golf course easement and I would have to take it down if they ever needed to do maintenance, and so I just left it there. So my property doesn't go out 20 feet beyond where my fence is.
Do you have a time frame in which you want to sell?
ASAP, get me out of my house. But I mean, I'm not gonna give my house away, so, and how many people get that from their sellers? I want it sold quickly, but I'm not gonna give my house away. Okay,
Do you need to sell this one or to buy the next one?
I do not.
Do you have somewhere to go?
I'll figure something out. I'll rent a 1-bedroom apartment for all I care. I don't care. I just wanna get my house. No, I actually, my next purchase will probably be much smaller, so probably half the square footage. I do want a ranch, and if it's not enough, if I buy like a 1-story brick ranch, that's fine. I'll just blow out the back and make a bigger master bedroom.
You plan on keeping your parents still with you?
Yeah. Yeah, my parents have stuck with me for 13 years now. They're gonna stick with me until they're gone, so. Yeah, blessing and curse. That same generation, you're taking care of your kids and your parents. Yeah. Okay, any other questions about my house? What about me? My husband, anybody else? Okay, cool. So you got all the information you need, so you're getting ready for your listing appointment. What's the first thing you're gonna do? Yeah, so what's selling in the area? How much is my house really worth? So you pulled up that information, you can see it's been on the market a couple of times. And then you can see all the photos and stuff like that, but what some things that are unique about Heritage, right? Like, would Heritage sell really quickly? What does it look like? So we're gonna start with Heritage. So we're gonna actually go in and look at Heritage.
Which neighborhood are you in? 'Cause
Heritage.
Just
Heritage. Yeah. And make sure you put the city in here of being in Wake Forest. Because there's stuff in Rollsville and there's also stuff in Clayton, so make sure this
So
is.
you go back to the home screen.
Yep, go back to your residential screen. So click on search and then click on residential.
And you something that is off Heritage what?
Heritage, just plain Heritage. Okay, so if I'm just looking at Heritage and Wake Forest, there should be 4,800 or 4,909 properties. And we're gonna make it a lot smaller than that because you're not looking at 4,000 properties.
we're looking to close.
Did you put in a Caren Fried?
I've not put anything in yet. Right now, all I'm looking at is Heritage and Wake Forest. Oh, wait, let me take the price out first. Hold on. We should now be at 5,709 properties.
You can take out clothes.
Yep, take everything out. We can start a new search if you're having issues. Just start a new search on it.
Okay.
So right now, I'm gonna look at what's going on in the market, so I'm gonna do all active, all pending, and then all closed. And I'm doing that date range. We're gonna start 90 days back on this. Just because we wanna see a little bit more history. So we should be at 31 closed sales right now.
How far are we going to
90 days.
Yeah.
We're gonna start at 90 and see where we're going from there. Home prices and Heritage are pretty stable, so I can probably go back even farther if I need to. But we're gonna start at 90 and see where we're going from. Property type, so this is a detached home. They do have villas and they do have townhouses in Heritage, so we only want detached homes. Yeah. Okay, so detached homes, and then the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to stratify it by square footage. Smaller homes have a higher price per square foot. Bigger homes have a lower price per square foot. Does anyone know the reason why? Smaller homes have a higher price per square foot, larger homes have a smaller price per square foot.
More advanced with the smaller houses.
Close, but I will.
Some of the larger things are staples in homes. As far as costs.
Yeah, typically you only have one kitchen,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
that's what.
So, and kitchens are very expensive to construct. Bedroom, bathrooms are, 2, maybe 3 for the most part, right? One roof, you don't have multiple roofs, And the reason why you don't use 1 stories and 2 stories mixed together is because the cost of constructing a 1 story is a lot higher than the cost of constructing a 2-story home. Takes up more land, the size of the pitch and the roof, the foundation's bigger, all that stuff. So that's why we try to compare apples to apples with this. When I look at square footage for properties, I try to stay within 10%. So my 10% rule is 10% below and 10% above. So in this case, the house is 3,700 square feet, 370 square feet, roughly is 10%. So I'll probably look at 3,400 square feet. To about 4,100 square feet. No, not 41,000 square feet. 4,100. Okay, that really limits how many houses I can choose from right now, right? I have 1 house on there.
Yeah.
So do we need more history?
Yes.
Yes, we need more history. So now I'll go back 6 months.
So you wouldn't change the square footage yet, you would just go back on 5?
I would look back in time before I change square footage.
Yep.
So if I go back 6 months, I'm at 5 now. A little bit better.
I'm missing something in my thing, and so I got 58, so I got active, pending, closed, Heritage, wait for 6 months back.
Detached. You got square footage.
Detached and square footage. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and search on that. So we have 1 house that's currently active, and then we have 4 houses that have closed in the last 6 months. So the 1 house that we have active is 705 Walters Drive. Let's go ahead and pull it up so we can see what it looks like. It has been on the market, looks like 51 days. It's 3,600 square feet, so very similar to the size. It has a main floor master bedroom, just like mine does. A lot of stuff that's looks like a lot of things. It has new roof in 2023, mine's 2021, so it's pretty similar. Looks like the kitchen might be a little bit nicer based on what it says on here. It says there's a gourmet kitchen.
You recommend as a listing agent that we do floor plans and list the size dimensions of the rooms?
I love when you list the dimensions of the rooms. I love it even more when you put what floor they're in. I think it's because of the way the features are being transferred over. Yeah, it's been a pain with the new listing manager. Yeah. So looking at this house, probably very similar to my home, I would say. I don't know if it's upgraded, doesn't look like it's upgraded to me, it looks like the same counter, same cabinets that were installed when they built the house, but okay, whatever. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Choice. Wow.
People make choices. That's a choice. So as a listing agent, I probably would tell them to neutralize that and take the wallpaper down.
That's probably their favorite bathroom.
It probably is. But it does stick out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the house. Wow. The reason why it hasn't sold in 50 days. Bathroom looks is pretty nice, like they've done some work to the bathroom. And internet has decided to put on. There we go. Yeah, nice.
Nice closet.
Yeah. Oh, another one.
Oh, God.
They like red in their bathrooms apparently.
Oh, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
married.
Yeah. Oof.
There was one. Yeah. Oh, I see the red theme going on.
Go back.
Yeah, there's a lot of red theme going on. Go back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just that
Right.
whole, it was the bathroom.
yeah, it's a bathroom. Yeah. Looks like you painted a lot of the house and they didn't paint the bathrooms. Needs new carpet in there. Carpet needs to be stretched. It has an ice cream porch. So that's nice. That's a little bit better than what I have. I don't have that. It does not back to the golf course, it looks like. You do an overhead and make sure. No, it does not back to the golf course. Okay. So that's listed at $875. It's been on the market for 51 days. Let's see if there's been any price changes. Nope. Hasn't been any price changes. Probably due for one. Okay, so that's the first one. That's one that's still active. Let's go ahead and look at the stuff that's under or the stuff that's closed. So this is on the other side. If you look at where Heritage is, and I know this because I live in Heritage, so I know more about Heritage than most people do. So I live up here on the golf course side. And this is on the southern side of it. So this is Heritage South. Little bit different kind of neighborhood, kind of look and stuff like that. So this one here sold for $665, so considerably less than what things in the northern part of Heritage would sell for. This is 3693 square feet. Again, no, it's not going to be anywhere near the pool or anywhere near the golf course. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. Hey, your neighbor has a pool. Pretty nice. No, they have red too, but it's a lot better. If you learn anything from today, learn to neutralize the red. It looks like their third floor might have been finished. Let's look. Yep, okay. So this to take into consideration, so it looked like they finished the third floor at some point in time, and there is a huge family room on that third floor. It's 23 by 17. That we need to take that into account because the third floor square footage is going to be different than the first and second floors. So take that into consideration. And 17 by 23 is a lot of square footage. What's that look like? 400 square feet. That's upstairs. That is third floor. Anything else on the third? Oh, there's another. Huh. Still looks like there's that's storage. So that's and there's something else. That's
Exercise room.
Is that an exercise room? So we gotta take that into consideration too. And electrical room, that's a new one. Yeah, so we'll have to take all that into consideration. Okay. Next one, this is on Heritage Club Avenue. So this is on the main drag of Heritage that bumps up against the golf course. Let's see if this is a golf course side or not. Yes, this is golf course side. Why do I care if it's on the golf course or not?
That's what you're not.
Is there a premium for living on the golf course?
Yeah.
I am far enough away, there are no balls that will ever end up in my yard. If they ever hit my,
Stand hearing it, but when I lived in Maryland, I used to hear it, and it was just like,
Yeah.
it's just like gross.
if they ever come even close to my house, they are so drunk, they don't even know where they're going. I'm a good 120 feet just from the green, so I got a long way to go before they get to my house. Oh, that's okay. That's pretty. It looks like they have all hardwoods. There's no carpet, which is nice. Oh, they proved me wrong. Okay.
That's the third.
Again, a lot of finished third floor, so let's look at this. No, this is all second floor. Yeah, first and second floor. Okay. Cool. And so then sold for 760 at 3,400 square feet.
11 days on it.
Yep. It's priced right. This was on Forgotten Pond, so this is on the other side, just like the first one was. It is 3,500 square feet, it's a little bit smaller, 678, sold in 8 days. Yes. This is pretty basic from what the construction was. Yeah, nothing's changed. Nice green porch. Okay. And it looks like all this is on first and second story as well. And the last one. This is Brewer Jackson. So let's see, this sold in 3 days. And it's back to the golf course as well. And someone stole photos. That's why they're so small. They stole the photos. They downloaded it from. Yeah. Nice green porch. And it's sold for 860. Wow, it sold for well over list.
So what's the other 800 above? Where they got that from? The porch?
It's probably the storage. There was a big storage area. So I was just looking at it. It had like a giant storage area. Get back to the really teeny tiny pictures so I can find it. They stole those pictures too. My gosh, how many pictures do I have in here? Sorry, I shouldn't speak ill of other agents.
History.
That's the 800 square feet.
The unfinished walk.
The walk up third floor. Okay, so cool thing is, it looks like we have decent comps for our subject property. One of the things I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a CMA summary. So if you click on reports, I have it saved as my favorites because I go to it all the time, but it's probably in CMA someplace down here if you're looking for it. But I'm just going to do CMA summary. This I print out just so I can have it. Because I do talk to my sellers about, I'm like, hey, did you know all these houses that had sold in the last few months? Because I want to know, like, things have sold in the area. You know, we have one that's currently active, so this is your competition. This is your direct competition currently, if you put your house in the market today. And in the last 6 months, we've had 4 other homes that are very similar to your property that have sold. And you can see, average median price is, 1% list to sale, so we're not doing a lot of discounts. 1.08 is the max, and then on median is 1.01, so pretty much list to sale is right at that 100%. Living area, square footage, this all changes based on what that, like I said, that third floor can really make a difference in living area square footage. Because that first house is 180 a square foot. Yeah, if you just did what, if you just looked at that house and you priced it at 180 square foot, are you underpricing my house?
I wouldn't just do it a whole.
Okay. That's why living area square footage usually doesn't do a lot for being able to price a home. Like if it's a cookie cutter neighborhood and you're in a Mungo neighborhood and they're all look the same and everything's the same about it, yeah, price per square foot is probably okay. But when you're in a semi-custom kind of neighborhood, this number can vary quite a bit. And you can see it does. I mean, the other thing to also take into consideration, you have the premium for being on the golf course as well. And that premium can vary depending on what golf course you're on. Heritage tends to be about $50,000. But you have other neighborhoods that are, you know, $25,000 or $100,000 based on what the house is on. Hazen Tree, the stuff that's on the golf course in Hazen Tree are going to be your multi-million-dollar homes. Stuff that's on the golf course here in Heritage are not going to be multi-million-dollar homes. Same thing with like McGregor Downs or, you know, Briar Creek. So it all depends on where the golf course neighborhood is. So, so take that into consideration as well. So we're going to account for all of this though, because when we're going to a spreadsheet, now we're going to account for all those things that are not homogeneous. Okay. So number of bathrooms, why does it matter how many bathrooms we have? Is there an increase in the value of the home because of number of bathrooms?
That's what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
How many people see 5-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom houses and you're like, oh my God, that's a lot of people to fit in one bathroom.
Be aligned.
Yeah. Okay. 2-car garages versus 3-car garages. Is there a difference in value from that?
Yeah.
Is there a difference if that 2-car garage is detached versus attached?
Yes.
Okay. Anything like fences, do fences add value to a property?
Yeah.
Do the size
Yes.
the size of the land have value to the property?
Yes.
So we have to account for all that into valuing the property, right? So we're going to take this here. Somebody is going to be the person who reads things off to me. Who's going to volunteer to be that person for me today? Thank you. Okay. And you have everything up here with these 5 properties? Awesome. You're amazing. Thank you. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over to the spreadsheet and we're going to pull the spreadsheet up. Maybe. Let's share this.
Wait a minute, you guys changed my spreadsheet.
Let me share. Okay, cool. You guys in Zoom land can see it now, right? Can you see a spreadsheet? I'm assuming you can.
This year.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is our handy little dandy spreadsheet that we're going to use. You can see here we have the subject property, and then we have 4 comps. And then we have all these things over here that looks kind of crazy and stuff like that. These are where all your adjustments kind of happen. So we want to look at this, and everything you change over here pulls the data from here. So when you go to make changes, make them, as far as numbers are concerned, make those changes here. When you're actually making changes to your data, it all comes down here. So I'll show you how we go through it and then like that. I suggest making multiple copies of this because if you ever screw anything up, you can go back to the original one. So we're going to go ahead and use our subject property on this first. And so I'm going to go ahead and type this in. And it's 1313 Marshall Farm Street. The square footage is 37 something. Now, remember, anyway, 3745. Thank you. Year build was 2013. I'm sorry, 2005. That's when I bought it. 2013. Subdivision is heritage. Okay, so we have 3 full baths, 1 half bath. We are a 3-car side load garage, so we're going to change this here. See right. Land improvement, we're going to put golf course on here. And I'm going to make sure that's right. It has a large deck. And it also has, I put a patio in there, so it's a deck and patio.
That's why I never do them, because I never figured out how to make it automatically put the stuff in, so I'm always putting numbers in.
Mhm. Front porch is covered, it has a stone, front, so it's one side, 2 levels. It does not have a screen patio, it does have a sprinkler system. So both. It has a fenced in yard and it's not in unit because it's not a townhouse. Okay, so I put all the information in here for the subject property, so you type all that in there. You can see the features here are all being programmed from over on this side. So if I click on the link here, you can see. Do this.
So where does this spreadsheet come from?
I created the spreadsheet. So if you click on this, you can see this is where the data is coming from. So it's pulling full baths, it goes to 3. If you're doing a really large house, you're gonna have to make some changes to this because I think I have it up to 4 full baths or 5 full baths. So if you're like selling something that's like 13 baths, good luck. So that just to come into play. And so you can see all this stuff is all data driven from there.
And now, are these adjustments, like when you create this, is this based off, like I know you said, get an appraiser, making your best friend? Have they basically give you ranges of what to put in?
Yeah, and I usually update this every year. So I'll just take a couple of appraisals that I have and kind of look them over and look to see what I like and what I don't like about them and make changes and adjustments to it based on that. Okay. The other thing that I can change in here, so appreciation rate, I can go over here and like, when we are like in that crazy appreciation world where we're increasing 20-30%, you know, that kind of stuff. I think we're gonna have to pause, right?
For just a second, she needs to get onto the computer so that she can actually get the file, so that she can send it to everybody in the room, so that they.
I
can-
emailed it to you.
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
emailed to that one.
I think you emailed it to this.
I thought I emailed it to both of them.
I don't see it. That's okay. Okay.
But that way we can go ahead and send it to everybody in the room, and you can actually go ahead and use it through the time as she's going through it.
Okay.
This numbers.
Yep.
So this is that spreadsheet.
This is the
Surprised that you go back.
Yes.
Minutes.
Hmm?
Was surprised that you go back plus or minus 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to stick to 20 years just because it's,
Okay. I just.
I mean, if
sent it
it's
to me.
old house,
I'll send it to you, thank you.
you know, if it's built in the 40s, I'll probably go to the 1900s. But anything that's like more recent, I usually stay with.
Are you also gonna put it in the chat?
Yeah, in a minute.
Yes, she will be doing that. Yep. Okay, so you can see where the adjustments are. So if we're in a like a higher appreciation rate where we're like things are rapidly appreciating or depreciating, I can actually put an appreciation or depreciation in. So if the market's down 10%, I can just type that in there and it goes down by 10. If the market's going up 10%, I can just put that in there. I'm gonna keep the rates at 0 right now, just because I think we're in our market and heritage is pretty stable. We're not seeing like crazy appreciation. So if we do see anything, it's gonna be like 1 or 2%.
And the appreciation, where are you calculating it from? Where you get information to calculate it?
So I would pull it from info sparks. Okay, so let's go ahead and do comp 1 since you're my talker.
All right.
Okay, tell me what the first one is.
So 1040, Shasta,
Shasta Daisy.
and then tell me what you want, the bedrooms or?
Nope. Do we care about bedrooms? Okay, so square footage is the next.
3693.
Okay, 3693. So that 3693, if I remember correctly, that's the one that has that has 3rd floor, right? So let's go ahead and figure this out. We're gonna figure out how much is in the 1st and 2nd floor
Yeah.
and how much is in the 3rd floor. So we have 3693, right? Is that where you said?
Mhm.
And I remember there was. It's the 23 by 17, it's 400 square feet roughly, and then there's there's the exercise.
14 by 9, 43 by 2.
It has 126 plus 391.
And then the electricals are you.
No, I think that's storage. So there's 500 square feet. 500 square feet on the 3rd floor and 3193. Why is that? Why is that meaningful? Why do we need to know that?
Value of the third floor is slightly less than the first. Side.
It's actually quite a bit less than the first and third
Even if
floor.
it's finished.
Even if it's finished. I mean, there may be a bathroom in there, but that's being taken care of by the rest of the appraisal that we go through. But honestly, if you're building on a third floor, what are you putting in? Drywall, some electrical? Probably not, you were probably tying into the original HVAC that's there. So it's really very cheap labor as compared to, you know, putting another kitchen in or putting another, you know, like it says, bathrooms were taken into consideration already. So it's pretty cheap to put a third floor extension as long as you're not like building out, like taking the roof off and putting the roof in. So if we look at that stuff, it's usually about 50% of what the rest of it is. So you take this and pretty much divide by 50. So you're adding 250 square feet. That's how I kind of rig the system in order to work. So instead of 3693, so we're doing 3193 plus 250. So we have 3343. That's the square footage I'm going to use. Okay. Does that make sense to people?
That does.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm not losing anybody. 3343. Okay, next is year built.
2014.
Okay, and this is Heritage. Okay, list price.
This price was 668,900.
Okay, days on market,
30.
date closed.
Date close. The date close was 10/26/23.
Okay, sale price.
665.
Any concessions?
No.
Okay, full baths, number of full baths.
Full baths are 3 full baths.
Okay.
One half bath.
One half bath, okay. How many parking in the garage and is it front load or side load?
Garage 2,
Okay,
front load.
okay. Is not a golf course, so there's gonna be none. That one has a screen porch, correct, right?
Correct.
So it has a large deck. And then has a fireplace. Was there any stone or brick veneer in the front of that?
Just some stone on the steps.
Okay, then. Screen patio, yes. Does it say anything about having a security or sprinkler system in it? Sometimes it's hard. Or a fence charge.
Screen porch. Patios, and back to the garden. This is latest. Yes, it's fenced.
Okay. Fine. All right. Let's go to the next house.
So I have 3945 Forgotten Pond Avenue.
Yep. Okay, and square footage on that one.
3502.
Okay, you're built.
I think it was 2011.
Okay, and that's in Heritage. Okay, list price.
675.
Do the market,
8.
date closed.
9/26/23.
Okay, sale price,
678,500.
any concessions?
No.
Okay, number of baths, full.
4 full bathrooms.
Wow. Okay, half baths?
No.
Okay, 2-car garage? Front load?
It's gonna be side with that, because I can't see.
Okay, so 2 side. Deck and patio, I don't know for this one.
Like screen porch.
Okay,
Doesn't look like it has, oh, it's a fence, iron fence.
okay.
That's good.
Okay, next one.
And the next one. 1205 Colonial Club Road.
I can't type on here. Okay, square footage on this one.
3360,
Okay, and your built?
2003.
That's heritage. Okay, list price?
749,
Okay, days on market.
23,
Date closed.
11/6/23,
Okay, sale price.
742.
Any concessions?
No concession.
Okay. Number of full baths,
2 bathrooms, 1.5 bath.
garage. Two,
It's like on the side.
two side, okay. Deck, patio, screen porch. Porch.
That window, then it's like a 4-season. It's a little.
Yeah, it's all, huh?
Trying to see. It almost looks like it could be a swing porch, but I think it's windows in it.
Okay.
I
so
think it's
in-
that 4-season room.
Okay, cool. A little bit of value to that. Okay, and is this fenced?
It is. Season 1 room.
Okay, so it's not fenced, okay. Last one.
Okay, and then the last one is 1408 Brewer Jackson and Port.
Okay, square footage.
3860.
Zero. Yearbook.
2003.
List price.
799.9.
Number of days on market.
3.
Okay, date closed.
10/26/23.
Everybody should just receive that actual form in their.
Sale price.
860.
Okay, any concessions?
No concession.
Okay.
Thank you.
Full baths.
Full baths on this one. 3 full baths, 1 half bath.
Okay. And that I think is side load, I believe.
Yes, it is.
2 car.
2 car.
And that I think has a screen porch. If I remember. Any other questions from you?
Like a yellow wood. Yeah,
Okay.
back.
Okay, thank you for holding on and getting this done, and thank you for being my assistant. I appreciate it. Okay, so the worst of it's over, right? So we got everything in there. The first thing we're gonna do is make sure our data is all correct, and so make sure there's actually numbers here, and not pound reference signs or, you know, things that are numerical and stuff like that. So we're gonna make it sure. So we have total features. These are all of our adjustments for the features that are above here. We can add them all together. The adjustments are here. You can see the totals, and the square footage adjustments are here. How many people have seen an appraisal and see the square footage adjustments in the appraisals? Yep. And it calculates the same thing. The total adjustment, it takes all in that into consideration. Since I did not put any allowance for time in there, for any appreciation or depreciation, you're not gonna see anything there, but if I change my appreciation to 10%, you'll see the number in there as well. So, adjusted sale price compared to these different properties, you have 741, 743, 823, and 854. So pretty big variance, right? If we go through and we look at the price per square foot right now, we're at $209 per square foot. It brings us to 782 if we go that way. If we go to probable sale price, we take in that 700 and average here, the average of these three here. We got that 778 number because we had that one house that sold for so much higher and we are 101%. And we go ahead and make those changes. So a couple of things to keep in mind. So we have a way to change the weights here. So we can actually give more subject property, more weight than other ones. So because this one here, I think matches the subject property so well, it is on the golf course. Same thing with this one. This one's on the golf course as well. And I did not put that in there. That's the colonial one. Oops. Oops, sorry. Since both of these are on the golf course, I'd probably say those are probably more in line than these other two.
Right.
So I can actually change the weight in this and let's say 30 and 30 on this one. And then go back and do 20 and 20 on this one. Okay, as long as I come back to that 100%, which you can see right here, I'm in line. So all of those equal 100%. If I change those things, you can see the probable sale price changes quite a bit. I can even go more. Let's say these are great matches and I want to make sure this is like really weighted really heavily on these. I can change that and do this 10%, 10%. And now I'm at $799. So I'm almost $800,000. That's a big change. It was a $60,000 change by just changing the weight. And if we don't have a lot of comps and we want to weight those comps a lot heavier, we can do that. So we can weight those a lot heavier. And I would say probably based on what we can see in the market right now, we're probably closer to that than we are anything else. So if we go back and excuse me, I'm going to actually change us to maybe I can figure it out. Go back to where is it? Here we go. Okay. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go back to our property here. And let's just see what Zillow says our value is worth on this home.
Be different tomorrow.
It could be different tomorrow. It's funny, when I listed my property, Zillow brought the price down like 40 grand when I listed it. Crazy, right? Zillow has it at 795. So 800,000 is probably really close to where it should be valued at. If you look at the other things, I think these are all really super high. The average sale price and tax appraisal ratio, I don't even understand that. House price index is, I would love to get 950 for my house. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. And then 816 is the average cost per square foot.
What is the taxes as a day, the tax base?
So since our tax values changed so much over the last couple of weeks, that's gonna be like super high. It just takes the sales price. It's a ratio. Let me get this thing shared again. I
have a question on it. Here's on a CMA, okay, on a house that say it's a community that's actually been around for, let's say, a couple of years, but the house that the person is buying is in the construction.
You're gonna have to probably go outside the community for it.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know on an appraisal report, they have to use a new construction with it.
Yep.
But I wasn't sure if you have to use it on CMA.
Yeah, and we'll probably see that in some of these houses that we're gonna do right now. I like using my house because there's no weird quirks about it that you can kind of see the variance. But it's an established neighborhood, so it makes it a little bit easier to price. We're probably gonna see some of those in the ones coming forward, because I know like a lot of stuff is going on in Irwin and Middlesex and stuff like that. There's a lot of crazy home building that's going there, so we might run into new construction versus resales.
So you don't try to get another one that's a new construction on your CMA? or-
Oh, absolutely, 100%. If it's new construction, I want to keep it new construction. If it's resale, then I want to keep it new resale. But it's the same thing, like if you're the first resale in a new home community, are you gonna be able to sell at the same price that the new houses are being sold at?
Say yours is a new construction and you need to find another new construction,
You're gonna have to go outside the community.
So basically you will have to go outside.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, we have a lunch vendor, so I'm gonna bring him up here. We can eat lunch and talk about more about CMAs.
Real quick question or real quick, service message for everybody that just received the actual form. Please do me a favor and open that form up on your computer and save a copy before you start doing anything with it, because those numbers really work the way that they are. But inevitably, you'll get in there and you'll start playing with it and you'll screw something up and you will never go back to the original.
Yep.
So save a copy now before we start playing with it, please. Thank you.
And the email too, so. That's awesome. I love
Okay, so now that I got that up, this is Jamie Clark. He's our lunch sponsor. So this gentleman was kind enough to feed us today. In exchange, he's asking just for a few moments of your time and the opportunity to earn your referrals. If he shares information and you feel like your businesses line up, he would love to get your phone calls to set up inspections, and he does personally handle all of them, so. You can, if you just click. And of course. So we'll just put this name. There we go. Go ahead.
All right. So, as Nicole said, my name is Jamie. Clear Choice Home Inspections is my company, and started the business about 17 years ago. So during that time, I've seen a lot of interesting things. And what I wanted to do is put together a presentation that would give you some information when you're showing a house or you're doing a listing appointment. So I picked 3 potential red flags, and I'll go through each of those in just a minute, but a little bit more about the company. So I do, of course, home inspections, pre-drywall inspections, radon testing, termite inspections, well water testing, and septic inspections too. So I cover mostly Wake and Johnston, but I do go outside of those areas too, especially this time of year when it's a little bit slower. And I always turn reports around the morning after the inspection, and I'm always available to the realtor or the buyers if they have any questions. You can always give me a call.
You just roll.
Okay, roll it. All right. So, topics. So possible red flags, crawl space moisture, wall cracks, and then whoops. I went the wrong way. It's not really click to work. Is there a way to get rid of?
Yeah, there's no way of getting rid of it.
Okay.
I'll put it down so you can get.
Okay. Yeah, I do have some photos that will be helpful. Much easier to view without on the screen.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, here we go. There we go. There you go.
Perfect, thank you.
A little better.
And then which button did you push just so that?
Just hit the arrow buttons.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Okay. So possible red flags, crawl space moisture is one of the topics, and then wall cracks, and then doors without exterior weather protection. So this would be typical rear deck door without a roof overhang, or some front doors without a roof over them. And disclaimer is, if you see some of these issues I bring up, it doesn't necessarily mean that repair has not been made, but it's really just to gather more information. And reach out to the agent. And goal, of course, to minimize surprises. So then when you bring a buyer and they go through the home inspection, they're not shocked. You know, you can preempt them and say, hey, you know, we saw this, it could indicate a problem. We'll see what the home inspector says. And factors that contribute to high crawl space moisture, lack of grading around the house. And the soil is supposed to slope away from the home. So the water that hits the ground near the foundation should run away, but that's not always the case. And then another would be lack of gutters or lack of functional gutters or gutters that are discharging at the foundation. And then the lower the crawl space, the more moisture problems you're going to tend to have because there's just lack of air movement through a low space. So we want to avoid this older house. And this is under the house. So what you're looking at is the floor joist, and the yellow is the insulation, the green in the insulation is fungus, and then the white all over the floor joist, that's heavy fungus. And it's hard to see, but the floor joists are actually cracked along the bottom. So my screwdriver just went right through those, just extremely soft decay. That takes decades for, you know, this situation to get to that level. But when you pull up to a house, look around. So when I pull up to a house, I can gather a lot of information about lots of different things. One of them is the crawl space. So this particular home, you can see, for one, the lot is very flat. So in front of the house, where's the water going to go? And then also, I can tell that that's going to be a low crawl space. Because if you look at where the front door is and then look below that, there's very little space. So the subfloor, when you walk in, and then you have the framing that goes below that. So you have one step up into the home. So that's a very low crawl space. In some cases, they dig out, but older houses, they really didn't excavate much below the grade. So this one was really, really low. And then at the front of the house, we had gutters, which is wonderful, but they were dumping right in the foundation wall. So this particular home, someone encapsulated the crawl space, probably spent a lot of money doing it, but the vapor barrier was like a water bed. I was in there just because all that water just going right under the house. So you start with step one, which is get the water away from the home, and then you want to encapsulate, do that, but they just did this backwards. So questions for listing agent, just try to gather information and see if there are prior inspection reports. Even termite inspection reports can be very helpful. And the next topic, wall cracks, very common. And most houses are going to have wall cracks somewhere, even if it's just shrinkage and separation of the sheetrock tape. But level of concern would depend on how wide the crack is, how many cracks there are other things going on, like floor sloping, binding doors, etc. So focus on diagonal cracks above doorways. Those are most concerning. That indicates differential movement. And again, the width of the crack. So I would say if you saw something that's 1/8 inch wide or more, that would be a red flag. And the good thing is, if it's a crawl space house, it's on the first floor, and you just see one crack, usually pretty simple to repair. Some very simple bracing can be installed. And this is a real simple repair. So what we're looking at, we're under the house, and the green arrow is pointing at the girder, and the girder supports the floor joists above. The red arrow is pointing at the concrete pier, and the girder should rest on the pier. It doesn't. So with the yellow arrow, what someone needs to do is put a shim in place, and that would support everything, but that could lead to wall cracks. And then a more significant case would be something like this. Also in a crawl space, the red line is leaning up against the girder. It's kind of hard to tell, but that girder has racked, so it's actually leaning. And so that supports the entire home above. This particular house had 3 girders, all of them were rotated like that. And in that house, almost every single door had cracks above it. The doors are binding, they were not square in the jambs, and there was a gentle slope in the hallways and outside bedroom. So that's a very serious issue and something that's very costly to repair. And then this one of my favorite pictures. This was about 15 years ago in Zebulon, and this is in a crawl space, and the black pipe is a plumbing drain pipe. So the plumber was given a job, hey, run this pipe from here to there. He did it, but in the process, he destroyed a lot of the integrity of the house. So there were 5 piers under that house, 4 of them looked like that. And so in that house, we had a gentle slope in the middle of the house. Again, the wall cracks, cracked tiles and bathroom floors, etc. Yeah. I see that a lot, though. I see this a lot. Not to this extent, but they break through things and cut floor joists and so. So again, you see some wall cracks, reach out to the agent, say, hey, history of repair, engineering reports, prior inspection reports. And exterior doors and water, I would say about 30% of the houses I inspected have an exterior door, like a rear deck door, have some type of water entry, and some of them have just minor issues, and some of them have more significant damage. But look at the floor coverings inside the house around the doors. Look for stains, even vinyl floors, they'll discolor, they'll turn like a slight color, say it's a white vinyl, you'll see like a grayish color. Hardwood floors, of course, you'll see some stains. And one thing I'll say is if you have a nice little floor mat, lift that up because people hide things under those mats. I've literally found holes all the way through the crawl space under a nice little rug that's sitting there. See, so again, see anything, ask the agent, give you some more information. So this is standing on a deck looking at the back doors of the door sill, horizontal, and the door jamb vertical, and the dark areas are actually holes in the wood. So this has been decaying for a long time. So with those holes there, water is coming right into the house. So under the house, this is looking up at the subfloor. The dark area is the floor of the house. And that was very, very soft. My screwdriver just went right through that. And then the framing's decayed at the top. Some cases it's much worse than this, but in any event, back doors or even front ones without that weather protection can be a problem. And so to summarize, each of the 4 areas, or well, 3, crawl space moisture is the most common, and I would say most costly to repair typically. And it's definitely one of those that the buyers become very concerned, especially if you see fungus and other things going on. So, and just gather more information, reach out to the agent and ask for other reports, etc. Quiz time, I decided to bypass that in the interest of time. So anyway, y'all got spared today, but you were paying attention, so I'm sure you would have gotten 100% anyway. So that's it for me. Do y'all have any questions or anything?
Do you have any cards out there with?
I do, yes, cards and notepads. So feel free to reach out, need anything or have any other questions. So
You said you're in Wake and Johnson County mostly?
mostly, I'm in Clayton, but I also go to other areas, especially this time of year when it's a little bit slower. Like right now, I'm going to Briar Creek, technically Durham. So yeah, I do cover a larger area as well.
Do you ever work in Harnett County?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes. And the other thing is, y'all have had to extend your area too. Years ago, I had a little tight area, part of Wake and part of Johnson. I had this nice little area and that worked great for 5-7 years, but then inventory issues and, I've got Clayton realtors that are going to Fuquay and just all over the place. So yeah, it's a challenge. So I drive too.
We call you for an inspection. Do you also take care of setting up for a wood destroying insects or a septic or a water or?
Yes, yes. Radon. So, sure do. All right, well, I'm gonna head out, but y'all enjoy your day and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get some lunch and be back 15 minutes or so, and then we can move on. You guys can eat while we talk, okay? Hey, guess what? You're officially in the money. Yes. I just have to find out. Yes. Yay! You're gonna need to go to the bank and get 2 checks. Okay, I'll send you the who you get the checks for and everything, so I'll just text you the contact information that we have to get the 2 checks and I will get them up today. Okay.
If you can do it today, if not, then I'll just do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's me. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I will do it. Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't have a Sprite. You don't have to, eat all your peppers and stuff. That's, I'm gonna start bringing that much. You still need a phone charger? Laying out without them. When I was complaining, I didn't know how to lay it out. I don't know she. Bring me in contact. I'm gonna show this out. So, okay. Yeah. I went back to the same. Yeah. So. Going back to him. I spoke like it. Are they giving you a good fix? Did you talk about? I gotta get to talk to what about it. First he told me when I was there, that the guy was getting ready to buy it. Now they text one lady and said, no, he won't be back. I got to, bro. I think that was
Where all magic happens, you're running down to real estate. Upstairs is Brian's office. And
yeah, I see that, and she said.
downstairs we have another. You want to- And then if we're over here. I'm doing it. Let me do that back. I'm not.
That was one thing they used to. Well, a lot of things right back when they called.
They told you to like.
Yeah.
At the end, that was like a big straight. That's what we made my neighbor street.
Thank you.
Be careful in the hallway.
Me too.
I dropped mine, but just a little bit came out, so I'm gonna put it on real quick. I have not yet. No, and it's kind of falling off the sides, but we will get there. Yeah. Well,
I just need a stream from the top of the rooftops. I just got my son under contract on his first home.
That's awesome.
I'm so excited for him.
Where at?
It's, North Raleigh, just north of the Beltline, like almost like Brentwood area.
Yep.
So. It's super cute. It needs a lot of work, but that's what he has time there for.
How's your other son doing as far as automotive?
He loves it. Yeah, he just came back from Atlanta yesterday. He is one class away from being master certified.
That's awesome.
I'm 19.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that crazy?
Congratulations to him.
Yeah. I tell you, you know, my, I was not as favorable when he told me he wasn't going to college, but I'm glad he did.
Tough.
He left, he had a swimming scholarship to do two different schools. And he sat me down, all he had to do was take his SAT, and I hadn't taken his SAT yet. I'm like, I kept pounding him. I'm like, you didn't register for your SAT, so we can go with it. And he sat me down, he's like, Mom, I'm not going to college. I'm like, you're what? I'm like, you have a full ride.
Yeah.
These are tough, they're hard decisions. They're hard
Yeah.
discussions.
That makes it harder.
Yeah. It was
But
bad.
kudos to you guys for getting through it, because now he's somewhere that he's really happy
Yeah.
and he's doing what he loves.
Yep,
That's
yep,
awesome.
he finishes Wake Tech this May. He'll have his AS in automotive technology.
Now, do you plan on staying around here or?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He's not going anywhere. Neither of my kids are going anywhere. Well, he's not even. The one I just put under contract is, getting married in August.
When you move out, you're gonna be ready.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, you literally.
Oh my God, yes. The light green spice.
Yeah, it's, Joe J. Roach. I don't think it's my last name. No. There's
Yeah, they found out Monday. No, they really did.
I feel like it's really good to figure out like a really.
like, wow. You know?
And it's not about alcohol. I don't know. And that's. And it takes with more. It's like my favorite. Yeah, and so the lady looked at me, you know a lot. Would you? And so then she goes, I love them. My mom ran it here for 5 years. She was like, okay, you have no right. Yeah.
Did, they kill Matthew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited.
She'll be here next month.
Yeah. Well, then the other one was.
No, no, no.
This one.
And I get over, it's like, you won't get this. Because if I have for the shower. Money,
Depending on whether I really wanna go to trails or everything.
You did Monday.
Because I feel kind of bad, getting used to it, but like whatever, you're doing great. I feel like he needs to get like out. Go for a walk.
She finished the freelance job for a company, she did her internship for Ron. And then a company that we found. Good.
Was it around the whole lake?
Good, that's awesome. Nice. So that'll get her, make her feel better. Yeah, that's awesome. So very.
How long are you?
Since 2000.
So you had experience before?
Yeah. I haven't seen it since. And then I started class 10 to launch 24 weeks, so. Every week, I've enjoyed it. Like doing it. Prior to that, I was living administrator. That's actually, and that, so. Nice. She said the name.
This is a great agency.
Yeah. But, there you go, thanks, Nate. So it's, even that.
So you made pass for the failure room.
Everything.
I was thinking, yeah. And then I was delivering like.
I had one, house school area,
Right.
2021.
Or when. Couple days.
I really pushed the price.
That's like one way to.
So the 19 we're selling is not much. Should have been worth $50. We got $1 million. $200,000.
I was sweet, so it was covered.
I was gonna say, well, you go free.
You think everything crap like that?
I always
Yes. And I'm just really, I was in behind 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I was having to just get home. And
I mean, like that, like I said, I also have 96 offers, but that's okay. Like going through and making sure like I didn't miss an offer. Making sure like I literally had a spreadsheet. I have like a multiple offer, so it's a spreadsheet that I used to have. And I went right to left. I actually had to change to go. 96 offers. Like I had to go back there and make sure like. I had to make sure that. You know, if I had an agent that didn't send me over and then back in the community, that was it was just a mess. And then the agent, now you're like 5 minutes after the deadline, you're like, oh, chicken's out. Yeah, I'm like, I have 96 dollars. It's gonna take a.
And then.
Before that.
You get tired of answering your phone.
She still walks out like Durham. Because they're 75, they want that for. Like the amount of, that's just like. It's just great. Now he doesn't ask questions. So.
It's really hard with land too, because especially if you get, you know, you don't know about all the information.
Signing up for that one too.
The ones with the ones that are inside, he didn't know, but still the same, but yeah, well, the paper one that. Hard for me, you know, so I don't feel for that.
Yeah, I thought, you know, they didn't even let me bring all my stuff. I lived in land, I was trying to have a family who was, had multiple properties.
Yes,
Yeah, so there's 5 pieces of land.
I know. They all went on various different times. One of them was a. And that went. I listened because it was raw land, there was no, I mean, there was road frontage, there was no access to any kind of.
No. Yeah.
So, when we listed it, it's different. And I was, you know, they were developed it, had it. Because the developers. So that's what they're doing, they just announced the housing.
Yeah.
So I think there's like 3,300. That's a residential. If you're husband, what do you like about it?
Yeah, yeah.
We have a really good relationship.
You retired.
So, if you ever need anything done, he's like, literally drop everything. If it's outside of April.
So.
Like, you don't go to like Fox News and that. We have another one called Jack, Doc Adams, and he does.
Right now is obvious for us.
There we go. It's just gotten so hard because, you know, as people need more affordable housing, we're getting farther and farther and farther out.
My husband, we own a home inspection company,
Okay, cool.
but it's also a GC, so one of the things that we started adding was a value for realtors, because we have some people who aren't getting the repairs and negotiating. And so being able to provide overall estimate of how, so that agent can get back and negotiate.
There's also that point.
That's a huge help.
And it says complex right to your left.
For a lot of us, I was coming home like that, I was like, busting every time I would get to.
Yeah.
Like, why not just do this?
That's a great idea, because I got an inspector report a couple weeks ago. The house was built in 21. Relatively, so relatively, should not have had anything to really nit. It was like, there's major concerns in this tiny. Yeah, of rocky dwelling. In a sprayer hose that backs. And he's like, this is like $1,500, $2,000 worth of like. And like sending me emails in all caps saying, this is what you're doing, and I'm like, you need to check yourself. Yeah, I was like, oh. Yep. I think so. It was the agent.
Oh,
You get them all gassed up. But yeah, it's just a lot of different things. I got one just recently. And I was a listing agent, and they said, on the second floor, the window, it was a manufacturer. It wasn't in the second floor, it wasn't a hallway, it wasn't a hallway, these other things that they had listed on me.
And I think it was really called our, the medic just came off a 24-hour shift and I hadn't seen him in a while, so yeah, and I've got a lady that was getting it from the door through.
Oh.
I got to face, but I run the radio station, there's a new research show called Hot Stuff on the still radio. I know, I'm
That's awesome. That'd be great.
They're mostly
Oh,
active.
yeah, definitely, all right, okay, thanks. It's just. It was like, he's so, and then I have another one, that was. Me too, there was issues with the house. And we just feel there was issues with the house. I had the inspection done. Send over a list, things that are here. So we started. Then she sends me another list that has more things. Then she sends me a third list that has some things that are on the first one and some things that are on the second. I'm like, girl, and I finally am like, you need to send me an official DDRI of what we want to repair, because I'm not gonna do this thing. One of the things that does, it's been on me, so a little bit in the inspection is like, this all, actually, it's all there's an eight. And the person, so as they're going through it, you can explain, because, people who, especially about homes for the first time,
Text me.
when they first get this
Text me.
inspection report, it's
I
like
wonder
30 pages.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just, they've already made up their mind, and this is like, oh, it's got too many things wrong with it. So, them being able to get on, wow, they just go through it and get it and say, yes, this really is a good thing. We can get it done, so on and so forth.
That's
I'm thinking like if you put the fire. Yeah.
So those are all the.
First time home buyers are, because they also help with the funds too, man. When they start seeing that, it's like the lightning. It starts going off and you're like, oh, no. I think that's all they are.
So it works good for them and everything else. But now. But I want to know what my plan is.
Because it actually.
And I do that with my clients, like I like understand when you get this inspection report, it's going to be intended, that's gonna be scary.
Yeah, that's what they get paid to do. That's what they get paid to do. So I if it's anything that's wrong, big, little. All of it. So. Oh, did you? I don't see a hard. I heard of it. So yes, so if you ever, if you're down there,
Yeah.
you need somebody, so it's TRG clients.
I was gonna say, leave me, your business laid out with.
They cover, it covers, all our Martins County, all the way out that way, all the way back up. Pearl, Rossboro, all that, and, we cover a lot here. Yeah, Martin, yeah, I've done a lot of work for Martin.
Okay. That'll ruin you right now. What's your name?
Libra.
Oh, hi Libra.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing great.
About my own. I hear about you all the time.
Yeah.
He loves you.
Martin's a really great guy.
He's my, he's the one to me, is my wife, I'll tell you.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Been married 25 years, only 26 years tonight.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm not old enough to have, to run
Well, this year will be 21st.
Nice, that's awesome.
Thanks. Sometimes we retire, no.
I want to see what I could.
Sorry, I thought you that happened a long time ago. We got about 2 years. This year was 20. You remember? It's a long time ago.
My, when our son getting married, I'm like, oh my God, I'm too young to have a daughter. She's sweet.
And my daughter's 16, she'll be 17 in April. She graduates next year.
Awesome. I tell you one thing,
I thought that I'm down to the top.
girls are a whole nother
I was
level.
gonna say, my husband is like, oh, it's. It's like, they're cleaning guns. I'm like, these boys, they'll know, you just worry about raising her life. You won't worry about that one.
Thankfully, like my boys were, they're both good kids. Because, yeah, if they really gotten in trouble.
It's like her, she had to be about trouble, not good at good time. And her kid, and yeah, her friends are like. I'm sure that was the thing we years ago. Big things were like, we're saying, stand away from you, we all really like that. And our friends and grade school.
I'm gonna start in about 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't put the three together until you said it. That was hard.
Yeah. Yes, he went out and became a photographer. Full time. 2 years after I got into real estate. And he's been a freelancer for since like 1995. Okay. He used to do like event concert photography for United Press International. So he used to do all the like the big music events and stuff like that. He's photographed like 5 or 6 sitting presidents. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's found some cool stuff. Like, he used to do all the debates for him, because he was away in Miami. So he used to get him to do all the debates and stuff. Yeah, oh,
Sounds like he's passionate about it.
he loved it. He absolutely loved it. Sometimes he's a little too passionate. He's like, he starts going to think like, I'm the first one, I'm like, you were way over my head. What'd you do for us?
I gotta get those signs.
Yeah.
Are you looking from an investor standpoint, or are you looking for a property that needs more done to them? Yeah. So what I do, we have quite a few people, make offers, see that property. Yeah, quite often, if you wanna text me your name, your email address, and this, so that when I get properties like that, and they want to be on the market, I'm gonna let you know, send me information about it. What was the list price? 70? How much? So it was a 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, but we did not include the value of the property, just because it had so much extensive damage, it was gonna be a tear down.
Yeah.
Inside and outside, so the floors on the inside, only 2 floors were left. It had a sensitive amount of termite damage. Sure, I'd be more than happy to let you know. You're welcome, you have a great day. You too, bye.
Oh, there's no company or everybody.
I wasn't sure. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready to get back into this thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
do it.
Very cool.
That's it, I'm in my short. Just one. I think something's going on.
What is the password for identity?
No, cool.
Comment, let me double check. I stole one of the signs.
I think this. Figure out.
Whatever he was speaking on here. Next thing. They like my picture. That's not okay. What you over there doing?
Okay, so for everybody in Zoom world, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, cool. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna get started. And during the break, we had a couple of really great questions that I want to make sure that we address. Because I think the cool thing about this spreadsheet is that you can adjust it for anything you want. Which I feel is really important. So, like I said, you can change these weights here. To make it pretty much whatever you wanted to do. And one of the things that I love about it is like, you have this conversation with the seller and they said that my house is beautiful, my house is amazing, my house is lovely. And then you walk in it and it smells like smoke. How many times has that happened? I know it's happened for me a couple of times. or you walk into it and whatever whatever they think is amazing, really was like amazing 30 years ago. So I always keep a couple of copies of here with different ideas, because yes, what they told me is what I'm gonna go off of. But if I walk in and I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Then I'm gonna reweight it to the lower number and have a printout of that. And then if they sit there and they say, you know, my house is okay, and I walk in and it's extraordinary, then I'm gonna have something that's a higher number. It all depends on, you guys know, you've been to a bunch of homes, you've seen everything around, you're like, compared to the average, this one's above average, or this is below average, and so you have something to back it up either way. Because when you print this out and you show it to them, are they gonna believe you more because it's on paper?
Yes.
Okay, it's not just some willy-nilly number you came up with, you actually documented why it's there, right? You don't have to go in the ins and outs of how those numbers came about, but you can show them, hey, you know, compared to these 4 properties that sold recently, your number comes in around 800,000, or compared to these 2 numbers, these four houses, your house is about $750,000. All depends on how you weight it. So I keep that in mind because of the fact that you are going based on a seller's idea of what their house is. And most sellers can inflate things a little bit. I went in one the other day, she's like, yeah, my house is great. I looked it up, it was sold back in 2017. So there was a complete rehab when I had sold, when I bought it in 2017. So I'm like, well, it's been 7 years, it can't be that bad, right? I was totally wrong. The dogs had chewed everything, like literally there was dog marks on all the corners of every you know, corner of a room. There was claw marks all over the floor. I'm like, okay, you got some work to do here, because this is not what you told me. And it's hard sometimes. How do you tell us now that your dogs cost tens of thousands of dollars for the damage? Sometimes you just need to give them the hard truth. Compared to the house that's down the street, that's the same as yours, it sold for $350,000. To get you to $350,000, we're gonna need to do X, Y, and Z. Can you do that? No, then we need to adjust for the condition of the property. I mean, how many people have told you, I don't wanna put new carpet in unless somebody complains about it? Well, guess what? Someone's gonna complain about it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Let's get it done. And how many buyers have you taken into a place where it needs new carpet? That $4,000 carpet costs $7,000 in their head. And when you
Or
do
they
things,
just don't want to do it. They
Right.
don't want the hassle.
they don't want the hassle. They don't want to have to paint the red wall. I mean, that's probably why that house is still on the market, because that crazy red wallpaper. Take it down. It's like less than $1,000 to take down wallpaper. Do it. Just get it done. So that's why I make adjustments in here, because based on, the great thing about this spreadsheet, they can do it that way. Things like RPR, it's gonna be a lot more difficult to try to make adjustments on RPR. Which RPR is a great resource, don't get me wrong. Same thing, like if it is a cookie cutter neighborhood and you just do a quick CMA, you can do that as well. It just makes it really hard to make adjustments based on the condition of the property, the location of the property. I mean, how many people have gone to houses that have power lines running behind it and like, buyers are not gonna buy this house with these high transmission lines sitting behind it. That's gonna affect the price of your home. Or how quickly it's gonna sell. You got 2 different things, you got price or speed.
Now with your worksheet, do you make price adjustments on that worksheet somewhere within the worksheet prior to the number coming forward at the bottom, or do you just make that afterward?
I just usually make the change in that, in this adjustments here, this weight.
Okay.
If it's not, then I'll do like a features adjustment. Like, let's say, you know, I can only find one house that's behind the power lines. In that features adjustment, I'll put a negative in here. And just like, I'll change cul-de-sac to like power lines and put a negative number in there.
Gotcha.
No. Same thing with pool. You know, you can see like on the land improvement, I don't have pool on here. You can put that in there as well, like I'll just type over the cul-de-sac and just put pool and put a value for the pool. Pool values are crazy, like I've seen appraisers give 0 value for a pool. I've seen appraisers give $25,000 for a value of a pool. It's very subjective, depending on the appraiser. Prior to COVID, like that was a deterrent, a detriment to a property is to have an in-ground pool because it was considered a liability. And I mean, I had a house that had a beautiful pool in back and they gave it like negative $10,000 because the pool is considered a detriment to the property. Now I think there is value in pools. Now I think appraisers will give pools value. It all depends on how nice it is too. I mean, if it's just a hole in the floor, a hole that's dug out and there's nothing really nicely landscaped or anything like that, it's probably gonna be a lot less of a value than if it's like a really well done pool with a, sitting area and lights and all this other stuff. So keep that in mind too. Question about adjustments for condition. I know someone had asked about rehabs. I don't think he's here anymore.
What happens if you can only realistically find 2 other comps because you have like such a one-off of the building that you are trying to comp? What do you do as far as that's concerned?
I'll either go farther back or I'll go farther out.
Okay.
So 6 months is about average for most appraisers. They tend not to want to go back more than 6 months. We've been kind of a stable thing, so you might be able to go back 12 months. Just because we haven't had a lot of volatility this year as we have in the past. So you can probably get it around 12 months, or you should just kind of open your criteria up a little bit more. For the most part, you kind of go within a 1 mile radius of the house. In very rural areas, I've gone as far as 5 miles out. I had a house in Lillington. I went miles out just because Lillington is Lillington. It's just not a big area. So
I was gonna ask, do you find in small areas, you have to either adjust time or radius?
yeah.
Because that's what
Yeah, I'll do it both ways. I'll try first with going farther out. I'll try first with going farther back and kind of see which ones and maybe pick and choose between the 2 of them. It all depends on property, honestly. And sometimes I do need to give my appraiser a call and say, hey, have you done any recent appraisals in this area? Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on with the market there? Because if it's something that's not selling a lot, it's hard to determine the market. It really is. And especially if you're going out really rural. I mean, I had a double wide stem a few months ago. I think it was like July of last year. A couple other houses in the neighborhood sold recently, but this one was like the biggest double wide in the area by a couple 100 square feet. I'm like, how much more value do you give it because it's bigger than everything else? And so it was just a really hard thing to kind of come up with the value of it. So the house across the street had sold, it sold for like $210,000, but it was like 1,600 square feet. This was like 2,200 square feet. So big variance in square footage. And about the same lot size and about the same, age and stuff like that. So, but do you give it 600 square feet more of square footage, or do you have to discount it? And how much do you have to discount that price per square foot? And it ended up being, I think it's the one across the street sold for, I think it was 210. I think that was the right number. And we had priced it for 250, and we were probably a little overpriced when we priced it at 250. So closer to 230, it would have been fine, but 250 was a little bit much, but that's what she wanted. And I couldn't say no because I really didn't know. And you just never know. So. But keep rural stuff into consideration when you're looking at stuff. And it may just sit on the market a lot longer because there may not be as many people interested because you're out in STEM versus Garner or so. Questions on that? Okay. Have I lost anybody here? Are you guys kind of like, this is awesome, I can't wait to hear more about it, or you're like, whatever, I don't want to deal with it anymore?
No, you're fine. I have another question about to the right is the information you basically put in. This doesn't transfer over from the left side.
It does. So whenever you pick here, it pulls that data over here.
Okay, so when we do that, it's gonna pull it over there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, so I'll show you real quick so you can see it. So if I change this where it says land improvement, if I change golf course, I can just do the drop down and do cul-de-sac.
Mhm.
The value here just changed to $15,000. So that's the value for the cul-de-sac. So now if I do none, that number goes away.
Okay, so land, so on here it says land value, is that the same thing as land improvement?
Land improvement. Right here, land improvement here. Land improvement here. So if you look at what and I can't show you, and this is. I don't know numbers well enough. So usually there's a formula grid up here and I can just go through and show you the formula. And I don't know why I can't do it here. View, let's see if I can put the.
So, and the reason I'm asking is because land, I see land improvement on yours, but I don't see it. I guess I see land value and is that?
Oh, go to the second sheet.
Looks like the formula is down at the bottom.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. I was wondering why I couldn't find it there. So if you look at it, it's an H lookup. So what this array does is that it says, give me B21. So here is B21. So this is none. And give me that range from J8. So it's looking for none here, and then it's going to give me the value for it on there. That's what that formula does. Again, this is why I say if you screw up your formulas, don't ask me about it. Because then I'm not going to redo your spreadsheet for you.
I won't screw it
Okay. And let's say you can't come up with a comp, like you really struggle to try to find another comp and you just can't find a fourth comp. You can actually just go down here on it, to here and change this value to 0. And that way it doesn't weight anything. Because if you try to delete this, don't delete this column because it's going to screw everything up. Just make it 0, then you're fine. You guys all have a copy of the spreadsheet, or you should have it now, so. play around with it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 117 Polaris, that was, I think. Was it
Terrence,
this?
Terrence.
Was it Terrence's? I thought so. Irwin, yours is Irwin, right? Okay, let's go ahead and do that one since I have somebody here for it.
Okay.
So let's go back and look at, so we're gonna start over. So get rid of all this stuff. 117. Or 117. Nope, sorry, 503 South 10th Street. 503. Doesn't look like they're listed. Is that true?
I don't think it ever has been listed,
Okay.
but it was a family house.
Ah, fun. This is an old farmhouse.
It's in city limits, but it was built in 1965
Okay,
and her grandparents had it built in 1965
okay,
and then she bought it from them in 1996.
fun. Okay, so at least there might be a deed transfer someplace.
So what?
There might be a deed transfer someplace if we look it up.
Oh, I have the deed,
Okay,
but, and there is a deed transfer, but I couldn't find it on old MLS.
okay. So we're gonna go through, since there's nothing that shows up on MLS, we're actually gonna go through and go into tax and do CRS tax data search.
Okay.
What county is it in?
Barnett. Because to me, the tax information I found was like square footage was way off,
Yeah, and that'll be an issue too. So,
but I have a professional measure, so.
yeah, how many people measure their own houses here? Good, don't do it. I'll tell you a story of my very first listing I ever listed. I almost lost my license on. This is it, right? This is it. Okay, cool. I love when you look at these little maps here because it obviously looks like it's encroaching on another property, but it probably isn't.
Oh, on that one, the square footage is close to being right. On one of the tax bills that listed as 1,900 instead of 14 something.
Let's see. Sometimes those things are right, but it doesn't.
But that was for me going directly to the Harnett County website, not.
Yeah, because you can click on
Yes.
this too. That's a great thing about Realist is that if you click on that, it comes right up, which I think is lovely. It does say 1,435 square feet. It says from the Harnett County. This is a lot better. It's
Yeah.
not encroaching on that one. Okay, tell me a little bit about the property. Has anything been done to it since they purchased it?
Yes, recently. She had the outside painted. She had almost all the inside painted. And, part of the house, she put new flooring. Part of the house, she just refinished the existing hardwood floors.
Okay.
She had the bathroom updated about 3 years ago. It's 1.5 baths. She didn't update the half bath. She's had all new, not just the electrical plates, but the electrical outlets, all new. She had the washer and dryer were in different locations, and so she had it rebuilt, so that there's a washer and dryer closet. And she had put in new butcher block countertops, had the cabinets, original cabinets, but refinished.
Okay.
A new stove, a new built-in microwave, a brand new refrigerator, and that will convey and she. Okay, I think that's all the updates.
Okay, cool. So she's had a lot of work done to it. So it's not your typical 60s ranch.
Exactly, she's done a lot to it, and she's done it, most of it very recently.
Okay, awesome. Cool. So that's great news. It looks like it has a carport. Is that true?
Yes, they have a carport, not a garage.
Okay.
And the roof is about 10 years old.
Okay. So nothing about it really stands out as like a challenge to me. Now it's gonna be a challenge because it's an Irwin.
Right, I couldn't find, she's not aware of anything that's broken on it, and the crawl space, just for me shining a light, doesn't look wet.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go from here. We're kind of gonna do some research on this and see what we can find. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and do a residential search. And now I'm assuming because of where this is, we're probably gonna have to do an area search and not a neighborhood search.
Correct, I expanded to the whole Keller Berkeley, because in Irwin, you don't have that many houses that sell.
Okay.
And it's, even though there's a neighborhood, it's not the same as a subdivision.
Yep.
Like you or I live in.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna start first with doing a map search and see where it goes from there, and then we're gonna go and move on from that. Sound good? Okay. So for some reason, this thing's not showing up here, so I'm gonna like scoot it around so I can see things. Okay. So this is 503 South 10th Street, 503 South 10th Street and Irwin. Let's see if it comes up. Ah, looks like it did. Yay. Okay, so I'm gonna start with it there. Once you hit enter, you can actually do a mile search. I'm gonna start with 1 mile and see what happens. Okay. So let's start with 1 mile first. So that brings up your little thing. You can see there's a lot of numbers in there. But this is all historic, so we're gonna pretty much takes up the town for one. So there's not a lot. The only thing I know about Irwin is like I bowl there sometimes. So I'm just gonna hit search. This is gonna load a bunch of things on here. There's 17 kind of listings, but we're not gonna use those. So we're actually gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do the active or under contract, so pending and closed. And we're gonna go back 6 months on that date range here. We're gonna look at detached homes, but I'm very sure that all of them were detached. Oh, no, we have one that's not. Cool. And then you said it's 1,400 square feet?
About 1,440.
Okay. So let's try 1,100 square feet to 1,700 square feet. Let's see if that narrows anything down. Okay, that got us to 22. Yay. New construction, let's take that out. So 21. See what else we can narrow things down. So since we
The deal.
yeah, I can do bathrooms, so I can actually, let's try 3 months back instead of 6 months back. Let's see what happens. We go 90 days back. Okay, now we're down to 11. Let's see how that looks first. And I'm sorry, I have my back to you guys. I want to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, I try to keep this number as low as possible because when I have too many to look at, it becomes really odd and confusing to try to find the right comps for it. Actually, what I'll do. Let's go back and fix this. I'm gonna go back to that 6 months back and do year built, because this is the 60s range. So let's look at 1950 to 1970 and or 75. And see what happens. Ah, there we go. Look, we have ranches. Lots of ranches. So that's probably a little older than we want. That's probably very close to what we're looking for. If I had to guess.
What's the, I can't see that here.
That was 105 Hicks Street.
I don't know if that's one of the ones they use here.
St. Matthews. Or 505 West C Street. So is it what we have so far?
I guess I just.
Let's change the criteria just a little bit. And let's go a little bit older on this. So let's do 1980. We still have only 2. We need more. Let's try going back 12 months.
And I put 1.5 bathrooms because not having 2 full baths took out a lot.
Yeah, but we can adjust that in the price.
Okay.
So now we have 5 that are closed, makes it a little bit easier for us to look at. There's a brick ranch there. Another ranch there. Another little ranch there. So yeah, so I think we have some good comps to kind of look at first. The first thing I always do is take that report and do that CMA report, just to kind of give you an idea of where it's my house. Okay, so we have 2 actives, 1963, 1959, both around the same time. Listed for 200,000 and 225,000. They've been on the market for quite a while, 156 days and 134 days. Looks like everything in Irwin, like you have a couple of things that sold really quickly, but there's a lot of them that have been on the market for quite a while before it sells. Leads me to believe that market's not as fast moving as it is around here.
Everything there is slower than you.
Yeah. Price at 163 a square or 172 a square. That looks to be about right. This outlier, there's an outlier here, this one here for 135. Everything else seems to be in that same range. So let's see this 135 and see the reason why it's an outlier. Doesn't look like it's a bad one. Yeah, maybe because you're walking into a bedroom, you go to a bedroom, I don't know. But I would,
Either.
yeah, it's not brick. I'd probably throw this one out just because of the fact that it is so much less than everything else that's sold for. So I'd probably just throw this one out just because of that reason. Let's look at the rest of these. So this looks like it's a brick. Has a garage, we can discount that, been updated. This is probably updated more than your houses that you're looking at, right?
I'm not sure because I forgot to say she put in all new light fixtures. She put in a new kitchen sink.
Okay. Cool. That one looks like it's been updated recently. Let's look at the other ones.
And all new hardwares and all the doors and cabinets. And they have a back porch.
Nice. Okay. So this one looks like it's in pretty decent shape too.
Just some odd color choices.
Yeah. Nothing, the little paint doesn't change. Here. This one's pretty nice too. That one looks like in pretty good shape. And then the last one here. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape too. Okay, so there's nothing here that leads me to believe that any of these properties were kind of distressed or need to have a lot of work done to them. So I think those are probably 4 really good comps to use. And minus this one here. This one here, I think is just that outlier. So if we use these 4 comps in that spreadsheet, we're probably gonna get a good idea of where your house is probably gonna sit around.
What's the highest?
The highest count was this 279, it sold for 240, and then this 269 sold for 269.9. So this one on Lucas Street was the one that sold for the highest, there's a 285, sorry. There's 285 here. 502 West A Street was the highest one.
And that was the one that I looked at, that was higher end. But I don't know.
If this one had a pool. One has an above ground pool, which I give no
One
value
had
to.
an in-ground pool. But I don't know that mine went up the same thing that yours did, but
And because this one here had an above ground pool.
okay,
Right there.
yeah.
Which,
And that above ground pool doesn't count for.
no value to above ground pools. And then this one here, I don't think had a pool either. No. Okay. It doesn't even really have a. It goes into grass. You walk out to grass.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, since you all have your spreadsheets, and I gave you what the comps look like. I want you to go ahead and take some opportunity to go ahead and put this into your spreadsheet. And I'm gonna put it in mine here, but I'm gonna turn off the screen so you don't see them. And then we'll compare the numbers. Does that work?
So I didn't get my spreadsheet, I think I left my thought out. I forgot my-
I'm gonna actually put it on my laptop.
I don't know what they call it.
You want me to send it to you?
Yes,
What's your email address?
Angela dot Dillard, Dillard at KW.com. I'm sorry, did it not come through? Well, probably I was in a hurry when I was writing my email, and sometimes when I do that, I don't put my dot in.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. And there's no way you can know that.
I just sent it to you, so you should get it. Does that have a fireplace?
Yes, it does have a fireplace.
That's brick.
Right this second, I think part of it is brick. But she had the fireplace redone somewhat. So yeah, I know the fourth part of it's brick.
Okay.
And for some reason, your email did not come through either.
Let me make sure it's not in my outbox. It said it went out. So Angela.dillard@kw.com. Angela.dillard@kw.com. Dillard.
Yes.
Yep, okay. It said it went.
Sometimes I guess my phone is just.
Angela, what was the date or the address of your property?
503 South 10th Street.
I'm Wilson.
Does that have a fenced in yard? Does that have a fenced in yard?
No, the yard's about half an acre, but it's not fenced in. It does have a storage shed, but it's just a little metal one. I don't know that it adds any value.
On your sheet, when you are comparing, ideals, you have on there large lot as one of your items.
Yes.
What do you count as a large lot in comparison to the ones?
Yep, it's in comparison, so like, let's say, everybody's a quarter acre in the subdivision, and this one's a half an acre. That I would consider a large lot.
Gotcha, okay.
But if everyone was half an acre, would it just be average?
It'd be just be average.
Okay.
Or like, let's say, everybody's
If you're
1
looking at a
acre.
4 acre lot, and this one over here is a half an acre
Yep.
lot. Do you go ahead and,
Yeah, I would make the adjustment for whatever the difference in the
Right.
land would be.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I would put that into the, in that land improvement one,
yeah,
and I'll just type the number in for the large lot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, it finally came through.
Yeah, good.
For the subject property, it's 1440.
What was that, sir?
1440.
That's the minimum. Is that the minimum or the?
Oh. I think it's 1440. I haven't had it measured yet, so
Okay, start at 1440.
1440. Yeah.
No, please.
Hello?
Yep.
One of someone in the chat had a question. I guess, I don't know. She said she had unmuted herself, but her question is, she wanted to find out, how do you gauge or determine the percentage again, or the weight?
Yes. So when you're doing the weight, it's dependent upon how closely related your subject property is to the comps. So if you have someone that, let's say you have a house that is the exact match, it's the same floor plan, it's on the same location, it's, you know, a couple of houses down from you, and it just recently sold. That's probably a higher comparable than one that's smaller or larger or maybe not as well done. So you would weight that more than you would the rest of the properties. Does that make sense?
I will ask her. Let me put it in the chat. Oh, she said she heard it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for monitoring the chat, because I don't see it very often.
You're welcome. I'm sorry, so she wants to know, she says, so the weight can go as high as 75% or as low as 25%?
It has to equal 100. So whatever you end up weighting, you would just make sure that all of them together add up to 100%.
Is there any way you can pull up the search again, just to have it on the screen now?
Yep.
Because I think I'm missing something. Thank you.
How many people here have given up already?
Like what?
You've given up on trying to do it.
I just don't. I don't think I was one of the actual ones we were using.
I should have pulled on my lap, none of my electronics like it here.
Yeah, so some of these aren't as easy as it seems, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you what my number comes out to be.
And I'm dying to hear how I did.
And I'm probably gonna be totally off because I don't know Irwin's market at all. So, let me see.
Never heard of it.
It's a very small town in Harnett County.
Very
It's
small
done.
town down there.
I'm not from up in my area, so I definitely.
Okay,
The only reason why I know anything about it is I bowled in a tournament in the bowling alley that's down there.
okay.
That's the only reason I know anything about Irwin. Okay. So. Zillow gives us an estimate of 190.
Which I thought was way, way, way low.
Yes, I agree.
But now Zillow doesn't have any of the updates either.
Yes. My estimate is 240.
We set it at 248,
See?
so I hope that's not too high, but
It was between 240 and 253.
okay, yeah.
So I'll pull up my spreadsheet so you can see it. Actually, I can't pull up my spreadsheet so you can see it. But the comps I used were 706 Lucas, 505 West C, 604 South 17, and then 502 West A. Those are the same ones that were on there.
I think one of those I had, but instead of doing the map, I just put in the town of Irwin,
Okay,
and that probably pulled up things a little different.
yeah, they probably did. They probably might have pulled in more outskirts.
Mhm.
All the thing I like best about it is that all of them were within that age range. So the oldest one was 1963, the newest one was 1977.
So they're all in that same.
They're all in the same range, they're all brick ranches. The highest square footage was 1582. The lowest square footage was 1119, and that might be a little too low for this property, but that's what I got based on this. And the funny thing is that really low one, that low square footage, gave me the lowest comp. So my comps were between, on the comparables, on the low end, $214,000, which I think is way too low. Two other ones were 243 and 241, and then the 280, which I think is way too high. So that's where that came, that's where that 240, 250 number came from.
Okay, so I'm good at 240.
And if I just do it via price per square foot, that 253. So a lot of indications of being in that 240, 250 range. So I think you're probably there.
Okay.
And the funny thing is like that one house, I mean, most of them sell relatively quickly, except for that one house that, and I'll bring it up here so you can see it. It was listed for 279 and sold for 240. Honestly, we probably should have done a bunch of price decreases rather than keeping it at 279. But this one here. This one here. So this one here was listed at 279.9. It was on the market for 155 days and it sold for 240.
Yeah, that price to me.
And they only did one price reduction in 7 months, so. Yeah, or 6 months. That was way too high. And it's 1,300 square feet,
Yeah,
so I think that 240 number is probably between 240 and 250 is probably pretty square on.
okay, good.
Okay. Cool. Any questions on this one? Did I help you?
Yes, it helped tremendously.
Good. As you can see, when you start doing comps, a lot of it is what you pick as far as your subject properties. If you pick great subject properties, it's gonna make your comps so much easier. If you price things that, or if you have a hard time finding comps, it's gonna make putting your CMA together a lot harder because you have to make a lot more adjustments. And the more adjustments you make, the more variable there is, which means there's a more subject for error. So that's why I always try to start as close as I can to the subject property first and then move out if I need to. So you can see that with both the age range and the location.
Karen,
Yes.
I have a question. How do you use this for, I guess, rehab properties or 3 walls and a door type properties? Because I have a client, they're interested in low end investment properties. But I'm finding it's literally 3 walls and a door. So how do you use this technique? How you compare those type of properties, especially in smaller towns or more rural areas?
Now, are you looking for like the after renovation number, or are you looking for just for how much you're going to pay for the house?
Probably, well, not to mention, probably need to know both. So looking at it, for her to purchase, she wants something a lower cost, but we got to calculate in how much, she would have to pay to fix it up. But in comparison to other local properties, what would be the best approach?
So I actually have a spreadsheet for flip properties. I've done a couple on my own, and then also to value like how much I should pay for something. So I kind of take it from like the after reno value and then backdoor what I would pay for the property. So if you take, let's say the house needs $100,000 worth of work, I'm just going to throw a number there, and it's worth $300,000 after that. I would take that 300,000 minus the 100,000, which means it's 200, and 85% of that would be what my max amount of money I'm willing to pay for that property. That's the absolute max I would be willing to pay. So if it's $200,000 and 85% of 200,000, like all over the place today. So 200 times 0.85. The max I would spend for that property is 170. So if I can't get that house for 170 or less, then I'm probably not going to do the deal. Which makes it hard in this market, because if the house is listed for $200,000 and all the comps coming at $200,000, someone is going to buy the house for $200,000 and overpay for it.
So after running this and coming out what our max amount is, should I still run the CMA with the 4 comps the way you just did based on that 170 price?
No, I'd probably do it. It depends on what the house looks like, the condition of the home. If you can find other houses that are in that same condition, then I would run the CMA based on the condition of the property it's currently in. If it's all the houses around it are all new construct or newly renovated, I would do the other way where I am doing the CMA based on the after reno value. And then backing out all the costs associated with having to renovate that property. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Renos can be really hard to value. That's why I put it at 85%. Because if there was ever a cost overrun and you're like screwing up and like, oh my God, my $100,000 renovation is on a $150,000 renovation, now you're underwater. So that's why it's really important for you to take into consideration really truly what your costs are going to be. If you've never done a flip, partner with someone who has experience. That's what I had to do my first time around, because even though I've been selling a lot of houses in my life, still wasn't very good about pricing everything. And so when I put it all in the spreadsheet, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And so I just partnered with someone who can help me out with that. My second flip we did was a partnership as well, but it was a partnership with another friend of mine. So I like sharing the liability with people. So but you get to reap the rewards as well. So that's what I would do for flips. I would just really look at what your comps are and then value into the comps. Next one, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So I want you guys to do this one on your own, do these comps on your own. So we're gonna actually put this in for the next one. Who is 101 Robin's Nest? Who is that? Anybody here? Okay. If they're not here, I'm not doing it. 50 Powell Drive. Who did 50 Powell Drive?
That's Mosh, Wendy, I hear him out here, so.
Okay.
They wanted to. Wendy.
I know Henderson. I know he's not here anymore.
Here she go.
Okay.
50 pound. Yeah, she right.
Is that yours? 50 Powell Lane?
Yeah.
You guys are all running out on me. How dare you? Okay, 50 Powell Lane. I want you guys to do this comps, find these comps on your own. So I'm just gonna pull it up to see if we can find it.
I'm doing okay.
Yes, you do.
No, I
You know
know.
what you're doing. You know when you know.
Hmm?
Is this the house? Awesome. Yay. Good thing is it's already an MLS. Woohoo!
No judgment, please.
Well, the great thing is you get to do it from the buyer's perspective. How much would you offer on this house? Should you want to put an offering on it?
I already know, but I'm not gonna.
Yes, you don't have to say anything. It is already active, so you should be able to look things up on it. Let's go ahead and pull what it looks like here. Great thing is that since it's already active, she already verified what the square footage was.
Professional.
Yay. Okay.
So
So
we do 30 days back or 60?
I would do 6 months.
Okay.
Okay.
So the estimate on here says it's 414, you're listed for 415, so you're pretty close to your estimate. And there's nothing else that's really out there, so you can't really look at what else is going on with it. So I'm gonna run what my comps are gonna look like, and then I want you guys to run what your comps are gonna look like, and then we're gonna compare notes. Does that sound good? Okay.
Let me gotta go back to home. Right?
Now, this house is on the line of Clayton Smithfield, but it's technically Smithfield, so what would you do for that?
I'm probably gonna run a radius search anyway. That'll probably give me a little bit more comfort in knowing that it's around the same area versus in two different cities.
What is the address? I must be putting something in.
50 Powell Drive. It's the fourth one down.
Okay.
So you're going, so you're still using.
When you do your radius search, do you just eyeball it?
No, I do 1 mile.
1 mile.
Yep. Yeah, so when you go through, just to give you an idea, I'll do it up here so you can see it.
I was gonna say, well, what happens if it crosses over county line?
It all depends on, does it really go downhill if you cross county lines?
Yeah.
So it all depends. I don't know this area well enough, so I'm gonna default to you guys. So 50 Howell Drive. It's really important for when you do a radius search like this, make sure you hit enter first. So the map centers on it first. And then once it map centers, now you can do your mile search. So now you can do one.
I have never used that. I did wrong.
So how did you get to that again? I'm
There's a
sorry.
little button up to the right. I have never used
To
it.
the right, where the.
Yeah, so when you click on your map in here. And it pops up with a map, and then you can type in your address here, 50 Powell Drive. Okay, and so when you do this, hit enter first, the map comes up. And you can see right here, because you can see the little flag. That's the center of your map. And now you can go over here and do miles, and you can do one. And now it picks up everything.
Wow.
And now when you hit search,
There's your number one flag. That's you at center.
if you go back to your criteria, you can see here, it's already set up on your mapping. Shape one radius, and now you can go back and limit
That's
everything.
awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay, I taught you guys something really cool.
You did, thank you.
My job is done.
There we go. Drop the mic. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sometimes it does hiccup on you and sends you into the Atlantic Ocean. If that ever happens, just close it out and start over.
2025. So, she said 10% down, 10% up, so we'll do about 1750. And then 2300.
Let me go back to the subject properties. You guys see what it looks like.
Because it's 5.
You never lost me.
Okay, that's fine. So, residential,
But you still haven't, oh, I hadn't had just.
yeah. And then, it's in build, so, put down here, 1760. And then I think I did 2300.
Congratulations, ladies, this is a great job.
The 10% both ways. And did you do 6 months? But it closed all in with the active as well. In the date range, we were like 6 months. She's done. Yeah, you've got 5, so good, sorry. So we need to. We should work on. That's when we know the map. And now, here's the one to have it, and I got that, and that's another. And then it gives you 1 line on it, and that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Like that, but if we can get down to. To 11.
So did you bring up the criteria of the original, and where are you getting stuff?
Well, I'm just gonna kind of inside, like, what should I do, but with it?
So I can make it more.
So when you don't have a list price for your subject, you just leave it blank, right? That won't affect the algorithm on this.
Sorry, say it again?
So like if I'm doing a house that's not listed,
Yes.
the list price, it won't affect anything if the subject house.
Nope.
I didn't think so.
So it'll have like 18, let's just go 18 square feet.
And I remember this before, it doesn't, your form doesn't go over to Google Forms, does it?
Google Forms or Google Sheets?
Sheets.
Yeah, you can do it for Google Sheets.
How far back did you go when you closed it, right? Yeah. You want it closed in 6 months. So I heard you take that out. If there's a 3, okay, you have none. You're gonna want active, it's transition as well. And coming soon. So now you're doing the one that you're actually on now, but
I'm trying. I don't want to steer you wrong, so.
I put them out. See if I can do that.
Oh, and not just. Well, go ahead and take a look at it. Yeah. I got 3 closed and then 2 active.
There you go. Then take a look at your placement and see how they compare, if you can use that as a real.
Okay. And then I don't think the activities on the spreadsheet, I don't think it's right.
Correct. So we'd like to ultimately go ahead and find one more. We might want to open it up to a mile and a half to see if there is one more is closed. Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you. Sure. Yeah, okay.
Right. Even if they are only use one radius, for some reason they still live that. That's awesome.
What did I do?
And now open it back up for now. And then type in the address. I think that's.
You got it now? Yeah, I think so.
1 mile.
Here.
Okay, now search. There. Because that makes sense. You were missing, you didn't put the address back in, so it was searching all of North Carolina instead of right around Alabama. You just gotta get in there and play with it. The more that you do these, the better off you will become. Truthfully, get in there and play with them. They do work.
Yeah.
But you gotta play with it.
This one's a rough one. I don't like it.
Johnson County, baby.
Yeah, this is why I stick to my little hole. I'm happy with my little hole. I mean, I sell a lot in Johnson County, but it's usually Clayton.
Yeah.
Clayton's a lot easier.
Yeah.
This is a full-on ranch, right?
Yeah, it's a ranch.
And it's got an outbuilding, a metal outbuilding.
Oh, wow, that's so hard.
Thank you, you too. So when you priced this, did you talk to, was this the number that they wanted, or is this the number that? My number's a little bit lower.
I think. Well, I haven't done her way yet.
What you get? I have to make it's good to be around the houses if the water seems up and you're not wrapping it up. Yes. I got that from Amy. I got that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how many of you found comps? How many of you are still looking for comps?
I'm still looking.
I'm only hear from you from Anchorage. How do you look at that too?
I do, but only if it's like significant, like if it's point, because I found one that was 0.7 acres, I think it's kind of.
That's close enough, but we're about 5 acres.
Yeah, I probably would add a little bit of value to the subject property because of that. Yeah. I found one that's 0.7 acres, and it's actually pretty similar to this property. It was built in 1998, it's not brick, so it looks like it's hardboard siding. And it doesn't have that exterior building like yours does. So, and when I factor things into that, I get a little bit of a lower number. But that's probably your closest comp, and that comp is 101 Poplar Drive. It's also a Clayton address, but it's still within that mile.
Yes.
And that's 0.7 acres. Everything else is really small as far as acreage is concerned, except for 240 Buckingham Court. That one is 5 acres.
That's the one
Yeah. And that, given that, I think that number will. So this is when being in more rural areas is a little bit more challenging to find comps. In this case here, you either have to go farther back or farther out. I did open up my search to 2 miles to look to see if I can find anything. Still don't find enough comps to support anything. So I would have to go back out even more. And so let's see if I try 5 miles and let's see what happens. If I try 5 miles, then I'm probably gonna get a lot of stuff in areas that are probably not comparable.
Like I wouldn't put anything in Selma in there.
Yeah, and that I do pick up Selma once I go out and buy miles. So now with the 2 miles, I picked up a couple of things in Clayton, now I'm picking up stuff in Clayton and Selma. So, I mean, let's go back, instead of doing 6 months, let's go back 12 months, let's see what happens.
Because there was one in the neighborhood, I can't remember, I saw, but it was a year.
It's been more than a year because it doesn't even come up. Nothing smaller, it might be smaller. Rockefeller Estates. That's in Clayton. That's at 0.93 acres. That has an outbuilding. It's older though. It's built 1920, so that's probably not a good comparable. It's hard. This is what happens when you stump the teacher. A little bit farther. Okay, if I go out a little bit farther, I do get better comps.
One of the neighborhoods sold in 6/2023. I don't know why they didn't come up with a line.
It didn't come up with mine either. The only thing I can think of is maybe it's smaller or bigger.
It's, well, 2,400 square feet.
Okay, and so I wouldn't have gone that
No,
high.
it's just,
Yeah,
but it's 2-story.
yeah, and that's hard to, because you really can't compare a 1-story and 2-story. If I go out a little bit farther, I do pick up some stuff in Clayton and more stuff in Clayton. That's closer to the village year. There's one in Clearwater,
What number did you come up with?
like 385.
I was like in the upper 390s, so I was hoping they'd list 400 or less.
Yeah, I think if you
But they're
had
not
it at
rushed.
4, yeah. If you had it at 4, I think you get some more traffic.
I agree.
Yeah.
Working on it.
So that's my, I
We
mean,
haven't hit the 30-day mark yet.
yeah, you're not there. But, I mean, the cool thing when I go to listing appointments and I sit there and explain to them a market, I'm like, if you do not have 8 showings in the first 2 weeks, your house is overpriced.
Well, I went for a listed appointment in June,
Oh, wow.
and we had talked about 385 and 400.
Mhm.
And they were planning on listing like in September. Well, postpone. And then he's 80 years old, Johnson County, dead set, 415, period.
So what happens, Mr. Seller, if your house doesn't sell in the next 4 months at 415?
Then he'll do a price drop.
Oh, in 4 months.
I did tell him that if we didn't have, any interest or active interest on it within X amount of time, we will talk
Yeah.
about a price drop, because I wasn't gonna take the list unless he agreed to that.
Yeah.
And they did agree to that, and we're at that point, like I started the conversation this week with them.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I've done, like if people really want to overprice their house, I know that going in, I'll bring in an agency, agreement to change the price within 30 days. So, if they want to list it, let's say 415, and I know the number should be between 480 and 490, or 380 and 490, I'm like, okay, Mr. Seller, we'll do it your way for the first 30 days, then we're doing it my way.
Yeah.
And hope you didn't miss all your buyers while you're listed, because now when people look at, oh, they've been on the market 30 days, what's wrong with it? And that's the hurdle you have to get over, because once you hit that 30-day mark, people start looking at it funny.
Yeah, because we haven't hit a pleasure pain point at all yet.
Yeah,
Just because of their life situation, they don't have to sell to buy,
they don't have to.
they've already have the land and then modulars on the way, and
Yep.
I don't,
They're just not motivated yet.
not yet.
Yep.
They will,
Like, we'll get there.
they will.
So. But I think, and who knows, I mean, now the market's heating up, I mean, you might.
Well, not to be funny, it makes me feel better knowing that you have hard time as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, but there's some places in Johnson County, it's
It's rough. It really is. It's tough when you're in the outlying communities.
Or if you have a niche property, like this one, no HOA, got the building, perfect for somebody who owns their own business.
Yep.
But how many of them are out there
Yeah.
that are looking to buy right now? And that's what I try to explain to them as well.
Yeah.
Yes, your building might be worth $40,000 to you.
Yep. Yep. That was the bomb shelter I had. He put all his money into this bomb shelter because he thought World War III was coming, and I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? There is no value in this property whatsoever.
And it is hard to explain that, yes, I know you just spent 60,000 for that, but nobody else wants to spend 60,000.
Yeah, and the craziest thing about that house is it was built in a neighborhood that was all pretty much single wide and double wides. This is like one of maybe 5 stick-built houses in this whole neighborhood. And so it was stick-built, it was over-improved for the area, it had this crazy bomb shelter. It had like a detached 2-car garage with an apartment over it. I mean, if it would have been anywhere else but this neighborhood, it would have gotten the price he wanted for it.
Well, why do you want to sell if he already had everything in it?
He had just gotten remarried to a new woman, and the new woman did not want to live in Lewisburg.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. She wanted to live closer to her daughter in Virginia. Like, dude, you should have figured that out before you guys got married.
Yeah. Yeah, question here.
Yes. Okay. Have you guys learned anything today?
Yes.
Lots of
Great.
things.
Good. If you feel like you're struggling in something, please feel free to call me. I'm happy to talk to you guys through it. Again, if it's rural, I probably can't help you.
But you can help walk us through it.
I can walk it through it. I can walk you through like what you're looking for as far as comps are concerned, what have you considered, things like that, I can walk you through. But the great thing that there's a reason why appraisers go through, school and apprenticeship and stuff like that. We're not appraisers. We're doing our best job to determine what market value is. And to be able to create a platform for our sellers to be able to sell their homes.
Yeah. How often do you have appraisers calling you on your listing?
Depends on the day. I got one on my house in the Linton, so.
I did too.
And, I mean, I thought I priced it really, really well for the area, and they were desperate to sell their home. So I priced it like $25,000 under the last house in that neighborhood. And we went under contract or even less than that, and I got a phone call about that one. Thankfully, it came in at value, so I don't, no issues.
I got a call online before you went out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it's a friend of a friend, I have a listing in Elizabeth City, so be careful in the weird areas.
Yeah.
The appraiser was an older guy, and he hadn't been out there yet, and he had asked me if there had been a home inspection.
Oh,
I'm a listing agent,
yeah, not my job. Yep.
and then in his appraisal report, it was VA, he had things on there like stickers need to come off of the bedroom door.
Yeah, I've had crazy stuff with VAs and FHAs.
It's like, what does that have to do with, I mean,
Yeah, I have one that's closing on Friday, and it's a VA loan, and I'm representing the buyer on it. And I thought for sure, like, we had the home inspection done, and I knew there was work that needed to be done in this house. And a lot of it was a lot of dry rot within the house. And so I'm like, this VA appraiser is gonna pick up on this. I know they are, because I wanted the money for my buyers. Because they weren't gonna make any repairs to the property. I'm like, please pick up on this. Didn't say a word about the dry rot. Not a word. And my buyers were okay with it. They were just like, it is what it is. We're gonna be in this house for the next 20 years, so we'll just, fix things up as we go. But I really wanted to get them back. But then I have other things that are like you said, take the stickers off the wall. Or I had one where it had 2 railings going on the stairs. One was rickety, the other one wasn't. They wanted both railings removed and replaced. Because they needed to be uniform in fashion. Like, what?
Unless you are telling me that you're coming in there with an FHA already, same loan, basically, you know for a fact that you're gonna be taking it, it's gonna be an FHA,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
then the underwriter me comes out, okay?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's like, no. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's some things I get really concerned about when I look at what the loan is sometimes. And I've had 99% of my VA loans have been smooth without an issue. You know, nothing comes back. Same thing with my FHA loans, 99% of them have come out without issues.
Right.
But then I've had times where I've actually had to like paint a shed in the middle of winter.
They said that too.
Yeah, because the paint was peeling off. It's a detached shed in like the back of the property. What? Why am I painting this thing?
Liability.
Yeah.
Government. It is, underwriter will tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Makes it hard to sell the loan, that's why.
It does.
Can I ask a stupid question if this hasn't gotten brought up yet?
Not stupid.
On the spreadsheet, why is there not a bedroom section?
Because bedrooms don't matter.
Okay. I feel like you already said that, but I might have missed it.
The reason why bedrooms don't matter is because it's more like, what does the bedroom look like? So if you have a typical like 10 by 10, 12 by 12 bedroom, it's not gonna matter. Like,
Right.
if you have 3 of them, that's fine. If you have 2 of them, that's fine. If you have 10 of them, that's fine. But when it starts mattering is like, okay, I have a 9 by 6 bedroom. I can't even fit furniture in there
And no closet.
and no closet. Yeah, and that's when you get into like the older kind of homes, that's when that starts coming in, creeping into play. But for the most part, bedrooms don't matter.
Thank you.
It's just hard to sell for 2 bedrooms.
And no closet.
Yeah,
And no closet, like.
Houses worth what somebody will pay.
yes, exactly. And you know, some people are okay with it. They don't care. They're gonna turn it into their office, so they don't care what the size of the bedroom is. Other people are like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to put anything in there and I have to put, you know, my kids need a place to live.
Oh, another thing about this house is technically, well, it's this 3-bedroom septic, but there's 4 bedrooms.
Yes, so, yes, if it's a 3-bedroom septic,
It's
do not
perfect.
advertise it as a 4-bedroom.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
Don't advertise it as a 4-bedroom.
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is one surefire way to get yourself in front of the real estate commission.
Yeah, what's that?
That was the problem, Ronnie, so, yeah.
Yeah,
No, list the property and the person who's selling it is not really the owner of the property itself, but basically doesn't have permission to sell the property itself. That we're gonna be able to change over at the same time that you get the offer.
well, that's almost like, it sounds like a wholesaler.
That's what I.
It was, but the only problem is that you didn't have permission from the owner,
Oh, so there's no other contract in place.
nothing. I'm like, what?
I feel the legality of wholesaling is teetering on that border.
It is, it is.
And I don't know, I mean, in some states it's illegal. So several states out in the west, it's illegal to wholesale.
Louisiana is popular.
I'm sure, because they're taking advantage of anybody who's not educated.
Desperately applied.
Yep. Oh, I'm sure I'm sure New Orleans was chock full of.
I was coaching a team out there and he was
I don't
starting.
know how far you're gonna get.
And I said,
Yeah.
Maybe how far you're gonna get.
Thank you, everybody who's online.
Thank you.
You know why?
Very
Because
helpful.
they're my husband's truck.
For me, it's like,
Absolutely.
Very, very
I've been scrounging.
And how far